Parish Council meeting of October 9, 2018 is hereby called to order. Ms. Carlene, can you call roll?
Mr. Jones? Here. Ms. Bozito?
Here.
Mr. Groh? Here. Mr. Melvin?
Here.
Mr. Perilou?
Here.
Mr. Otan?
Here.
Mr. Lafont is not here at this time. Mr. Lorraine?
Here.
And Mr. Cantrell?
Thank you. Mr. Jerry Jones will do the invocation, and Mr. Corey Perilou will lead us in the pledge.
Recite the Lord's Prayer. Our Father,
Who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Before I go any further, I want to mention a visitor. We have Mr. Doug Sheremy, who's with Jeff Landry Attorney General Office. Doug, can you give us a wave? Thank you, Doug. Thank you for coming to our meeting so often. Ms. Carlene, we have something going on with these minutes.
Yes, if y'all would approve just item 1, and I ask that y'all defer 2 through 8 till the next meeting, which is the October 23rd council meeting, please.
Okay, A, approval of minutes. Number 1, motion to accept the minutes of the June 12, 2018 regular session deferred from 6/26/18, 7/10/18, 7/24/18, 8/14/18, 8/28/18, 9/11/18, and 9/25 LPC meeting. Moved by Perilou, second by Groh. Any discussion? Being none, all in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Passes.
7 yeas, 0 nays, 1 absent, 1 vacancy.
7 yeas, 0 nays, 1 absent, being Lafont, and 1 vacancy. Can I get a motion to defer items 2 through 8? Moved by Perilou, second by Otan. Any discussion? Being none. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Items 2 through 8 will be deferred until when, Ms. Carlene?
October 23rd.
To 10/23/18. B, presentation and/or updates. Number 9, Mr. Jerome Danos, Solid Waste Manager, to give a presentation on the garbage tax reinstatement. Mr. Jerome. Jerome, sorry I didn't get to meet with you and Mr. Barnes before. I was trying, but it didn't work out for me. So I'm anxious to see what y'all have.
Okay, thank you. We start off, sales tax district number 4 proposition, which is as it appears on the ballot, along with the tax call, the garbage tax reinstatement. The early vote is October the 23rd to the 30th, and election day is Tuesday, November 6th. Just to avoid any confusion, it does appear as sales tax district number 4 proposition. Just a quick history, which most everybody has heard. I'll repeat it. 1986, there was a 1-cent sales tax that was passed that funded parish-wide garbage and recycling services. In the early years, the revenues exceeded the expenses. By 1996, the fund balance had reached about approximately $12 million surplus. In 1996, it was decided to roll back 3/10 of the 1 cent for various reasons, and we proceeded with a 7/10 levy of the sales tax for the garbage fund. In 1999, the first contract was awarded to Waste Management from 1988 to 1998. The next contract was awarded to Sweetie in 1999. And at that time, we decided to do a pretty substantial revision to the contract by doing what is called a unit count to update the house count, and a pretty noticeable increase was realized. thereby increasing the cost of the contract, and at the time, garbage collection costs were also on the rise. Shortly after that, the expenses were getting close to what the revenues were and eventually surpassed the revenues, and we began to dig into the surplus of $12 million, which gradually became reduced over the course of the next 10 years. By 2010, what was a $12 million surplus was about $1.2 million. And we proceeded along those lines. The revenues got a little stronger after some natural disasters, such as Hurricane Katrina. And that was followed by a series of hurricanes along with the BP spill. The economy stayed pretty strong. And we didn't get into a problem until 2016 when the oil field busted, and there was a approximate 20% sharp decline in tax revenues. So for that year, the garbage service expenses exceeded the revenues by 1.5 million. And it kind of put us in a little bit of a tailspin for the following years. 2017, expenses exceeded revenues by 2 million. This year, we're projecting the expenses to exceed the revenues by 2.3 million. 2019, we're expecting the expenses to exceed the revenues by 1.9 million. So that kind of brings us to where we are today with the proposal on the ballot, try to get the revenues back up. And as a footnote concerning the rollback, today after 22 years, it can be estimated that approximately $66 million were not collected in taxes during the rollback period. So where does that leave us? Well, if we can get the funding to cover the shortfall that we've been experiencing the last 3 or 4 years, we would be able to keep the current services, which are twice a week garbage pickup, basically a take-all bulky waste service, and we have 4 drop-off recycling locations. Without funding to cover the shortfall, we're most certainly looking at having to reduce the current services to match the revenue. We did some cost estimating, and in order to get the services that would meet the revenue, we could go to once a week garbage pickup. We'd have to basically cut the bulky waste pickup and cut the recycling program in order to have our expenses meet the revenues for any foreseeable future. And I just want to point out that it would look like the services were being cut in half, but that is not necessarily the case. Going to once a week service would mean a reduction in cost, but we still got to pick up the same amount of garbage, so it probably would be about a 10 or 15% reduction in costs, which would necessitate the other services being discontinued. And that's based on approximately $6 million revenue stream coming in, which is what we would plan on having. And basically that would end my presentation.
Any questions? Mr. Daniel?
Yes, Jerome, let's go back to the people for the 3/10. But if that doesn't pass, your alternative is a user fee, and that also has to go back to the people, right?
That's correct.
So if one don't pass, chances are the other one won't. Just this year, we put up $1 million to finish the year through the BP funds, right? We put up $1 million from the BP funds to balance off the end of the year, right?
I know we had some supplemental funding, but I don't know exactly the source of the supplemental funding.
Also, you got Lockport and Goulametta involved with this, and they didn't participate at all on the $1 million. we didn't ask, well, nobody asked for them to put up anything, which we could have, but we didn't. But if you go to a user fee and you gotta create another district, a garbage district, I don't think that they can legally join you, Lockport and Golden Meadow.
Our bonding attorney has cautioned us that it might be necessary to exclude them from the taxing district.
So if they would be excluded, they would be in probably a worse shape than us. Now, this doesn't affect Thibodeau because they collected on the water bill, which I think that's, you got the mechanism in place on the sales tax, and 3/10, if you spend $100 is 30 cents, that's just on the 3/10. And when we passed this in 1986, they probably didn't have as much sales tax being collected at that time. Since that time, you got a couple of other agencies that chimed in and passed it. And you're still gonna be collecting 6 million something, but you're gonna have to cut a lot of services. People are spoiled, and you know, it's their choice. A lot of people that supported that back in that time are probably deceased, and some of them are still here. Some of them voted for it, some of them voted against it, some of them didn't even go vote. But it's gonna be in their hands, and it's so easy to do. I mean, we did this thinking we were doing something right to roll it back. Not too many entities in the parish have rolled back anything except Thibodeau Regional got basically rid of their millage. And library did roll back some. And we did the road tax and we did the garbage. And sometimes when you think you're doing something good or right, it comes back to bite you. And that's what's happening right now. It's biting us real good. So if it doesn't happen, chances are on the user fee, that one's gonna probably get slaughtered versus this one. That's just my opinion. So, and one thing that they don't, some of them don't want to talk about it here is the 66 million that was saved for the taxpayers in that 20-year period. But I guess whatever happens, we'll deal with it when it comes.
Mr. O'Tan?
Yeah, so I acknowledge and fully agree with every single word that Daniel just said. And I'll also go on to say that as a person that assists in the bayou cleanup and has for years and years, we pick up probably 60 yards of trash just from Company Canal and Lockport to the Coastal Canal. For those who don't remember, a long time ago, that was pretty much where the dump was along the bayou. We're still fighting some of those dump sites, and I think people will resort back to that. And in terms of being good stewards to our bayou, which provides drinking water for 300,000 or so people, I think we're going to have some impacts there. Secondly, as a fire chief, I can tell you that private developments have become more and more of a problem in that they don't have the funds to have garbage pick up because they're not included in this by and large. So they simply stack up their garbage and burn it. And it impacts communities like the entire town of Lockport where the whole area gets inundated with smoke, and then we have to get the state fire marshal out there and DEQ and everything else, and not only the smoke but also the runoff when it rains from that burned garbage. So unfortunately, I think it could be a pretty grim sight if services are cut, as pointed out here up here, to one time a week, et cetera, and that I think you're going to see more stuff in the bayou, and I think you're going to see more stuff being burnt. So I will say I think we have a premium garbage service, and we've become, we've kind of taken it for granted. So I certainly hope that we stay in keeping our bayou in this parish clean in support of this.
Anyone else? Mr. Jones?
Yes, I got a question. What is the administration doing to push this tax?
Mr. Jimmy?
We made up a brochure and made up a small commercial, which we're running on the 100.3 and down the Bayou Station. I took a small poll. It looks pretty good. It's a fight on hand, but I think people want garbage service like they have it now. That's what the poll indicated, and I think that we have a good chance of passing. But I know what the poll reveals, that they don't want once a week, for sure. And they indicated that on a small poll I ran. So I hope that the people realize that some of the service has to be curtailed if we don't have that 3/10 put back. And that was originally voted on by the people. I know some of them not here, like Daniel said, but that was our fathers and grandfathers. I think that was a wise decision on that part, and they wanted garbage to be picked up. They didn't want the garbage to be dumped in the bayou, which that was occurring quite regular. This was, we need to have a beautification program and not have garbage just dumped and put all over the place. And in a lot of places, back of subdivisions, people go and dump garbage, and it piled up. We had to clean up a lot of messes, and not me personally, but the Public Works had to go and clean up mess of garbage in the back of subdivisions. So we don't want that type of garbage to be, our mess to be cleaned up. We just need to make sure that we keep on giving the good service that we've been giving, and hope people realize. Now, you have some things that happen. Sometimes somebody doesn't have a garbage can picked up. But over here, being in this area, twice a week is almost necessary, because we're in an area where shrimp peelings and crawfish heads go in the garbage all the time. And if you miss 1 week, I wouldn't want to empty that garbage after that. So I'm asking the people to please support it, and let's keep Lafourche Parish clean, and let's keep the services we've been having. And let's move on for this, because there's very little, according to the tax that you'd be collecting, like Daniel said, for $100, 30 cents of taxes. So I hope that it goes through, and I hope that people vote for it. Thank you.
Anyone else? Okay. Item number 10, Mr. Tommy Jenkins is not, we're pulling this item. C, legal advisory report, none. D, public wishing to address the council. This includes public hearings, agenda items, et cetera. Ms. Carleen?
Mr. Paul Chiquette, if you'd approach the podium, sir. State your name and address for the record, Mr. Chiquette. And please remember, you have 3 minutes. I don't think it's on, Mr. Paul, the mic. The little white button, sir, on the top.
Paul Chiquette, 223 Twin Oaks, Racine, Louisiana. I would like, first of all, to ask permission, because my mobility is not there, I would ask permission to allow Reverend Boyd to give some stuff out for me.
Sure.
So,
Sure.
Reverend Boyd, if you mind.
And even if your mobility would have been there, we like to see Reverend Boyd work around here, so it's good for us to see him moving about. Thanks.
At the last
Reverend
council
Boyd.
meeting, I addressed the board, and when I got home, I realized something, and I want to apologize for it. The majority of council members were not there as many years as I have been here, and not familiar with some of the stipulations within the parish and things that go on. I was very adamant about being forced to do something I felt was illegal. And I want to address this to Michael. You questioned Reverend Boyd, which you had the right to do, but I want to take the blame more than Reverend Boyd for what the board did. I advised the board not to break the law, and let's try to stay within the perimeters of the law and follow what we were supposed to do. Christine Russell, the first page you have, sent on October the 8th a letter explaining exactly what LaKeep was and explaining to this council that the Community Action Board had nothing to do with the redirecting of funds for LaHeap. If you go back and look very carefully at her letter, she's saying that we have funds to do for CSBG and to follow the state law. The only letters I have received as a board member, and I'm speaking for myself only, was from Jimmy and from the interim Community Action Director, who requested that we have a meeting to go and approve LaHeap. LaHeap is not our position to approve, it is your position. It was not our job to do it, and the district attorney has proven that to you. I was very upset about the board having to meet on something which will be caught in the end, between fractions of anything and doing something illegal. I personally advise the board to be very careful what we do here. In a letter addressed by Cam Mouvon, he addressed in the letter and he wrote, to the state law, here's the next one, all the state law, exactly what the state's requiring the Community Action Board to do. We're not a board to make a decision. We're an advisory board to this council. My mouth is for you.
Excuse me, just a minute. Does someone want to relinquish time? Mr. Parallel?
Okay?
You have 3 more minutes.
My mouth was for the council. I make good decisions. I look very carefully at everything that's made. And if I think there's something wrong, I speak. And I speak very loud at Community Action. The next one, Reverend Boyd was sent a letter, here it is, by the Community Action, Stacy Savoy, interim, and she's requesting that we address LaHeap. That's illegal. We can't address LaHeap. LaHeap is not our position to address. It's this council's position. So the board didn't act on it. We also had a letter dated September 24th by Mr. Jimmy, presuming that I would want to remove his position. I don't want to remove his job. He has things he has to do in community action, but I will not let him remove my position on the board and not do my job. Christine Russell wrote it for everybody. Our position is to make sure we follow the procedures and everything that has to go along with CSBG. Here is the contract for CSBG. And this contract is signed by Jimmy Cantrell, Parish Administrator, and everybody else. But also the district attorney says, unless this contract, and it's in the next group of papers coming up, you have a resolution that was just given this week, stating that the law says that CSBG would end the funding if the advisory board was not put back and we did our job. There's jobs for everybody. There's a job for this council, there's a job for Mr. Jimmy, and there's a job for this advisory board. In this September the 20th information from the district attorney, they advised that CSBG will remove the funding from Lafourche Parish, just like LaHeap was going to do it if we didn't follow what's right. They have followed LaHeap, they have applied. I don't know if the funding came back, that's not my job. But this last statement from the states telling me CSBG is no longer going to be funded in Lafourche Parish if something don't happen with the Community Action Board. I don't want Mr. Jimmy's job. He has the right to do the things what the charter gives. But I have the right as a board to advise this council to be very careful with decisions that you make, because I will not be forced by anybody
Just a minute,
to
Mr.
break the
Paul.
law.
Mr. Paul, just a minute. Were you done, or you need someone to relinquish more time?
Yeah.
Mr. Jones has relinquished 3 more minutes.
Okay. On the CSBG, here's the qualifications that require us to be in the board. The most important thing that CSBG is telling me as the board person is very effective. The duty of obedience. A board member must be faithful to the organization's mission. He or she cannot in any way be consistent without the organization's goal. The board member is trusted by the public to maintain, donate funds to fulfill the organization's member. The duty of loyalty. The best interest of a board is to advise the council of their positions and things that needed to be done if they were not handled correctly. Responsible care of an ordinary person is very prudent. That's from CSBG. They require this board to be there to oversee what's ever happening with the funds. The entire community action program, as later on, by the bylaws, our bylaws was accepted, regardless of who told you. It was accepted by the Louisiana Workforce Commission, the auditor, Derek Williams. After his suggestions were met by me, I was the chairman of the bylaws committee. We had to follow suggestions of the state, then we submitted it to the Community Action Board. It was passed. We submitted it to council, and it was passed.
Okay. Did the mic just cut out on you? Tap it? It did just cut out.
Yeah, just talk into it, see if it still works.
No, it's not. Must have. Oh, is that on? Did y'all hear? I don't know if it needs batteries.
Hello, it's back.
Okay.
Do you have any
All right,
questions?
Mr. Grow?
I appreciate you coming back, Mr. Chiquette. Reverend Boyd will tell you I called him first thing Wednesday morning after the meeting.
I'm aware of that, Mike.
Okay.
Yeah.
And if you guys feel like you're breaking the laws, I'm not going to touch that. Look, don't meet if you feel like you're breaking the laws. I did not know that till you stood up here. Still sitting here right now, I don't think you'd be breaking laws. And I'm not talking about CSBG or HUD funds or LAHEAP. I just thought you guys should have met. And we were posed something about a neighboring parish, and I'm wondering how did that happen without a meeting by y'all? Why didn't y'all meet to discuss? That was my only, it was a generalized statement, and still reading this, I still don't see, I mean, I see in the second thing, you referenced Mr. Mobont still. I see a lot of verbiage about that y'all serve as the governing board of the Community Action Agency. I see that the advisory board is an integral part of Lafourche Parish, okay, of the community action. Without the board, the parish would not be able to receive funds for distribution. I read that, and I think that might supersede some other things. All I'm saying is just meet. I'm not talking about CSBG, LAHEAP. I read, without the board, the parish would not be able to receive funds for distribution. So I agree, we need y'all. We had something that didn't come from y'all, that I was just questioning some of those things. If you felt like you were breaking the law, you can ask for a DA opinion from any one of us. You can call the district attorney.
Just a minute.
That's all I'm
Hold off on
saying.
speaking a minute till we get your mic back, okay?
Now, I'm serious. I thank you for coming, but I still don't agree with you.
Put it on function.
When we were asked to meet as a board, we always had an agenda that presented to the board what was going to be covered, what they thought was going to be. The only thing we received for a meeting from the board was that LAHEAP was being canceled. We had nothing to do with LAHEAP. If it had been a question involving CSBG, the regulations, things, I met with Jimmy Cantrell myself in his office. When he asked to meet, I had no problems with any decision Mr. Jimmy made. The only problem I had with Mr. Jimmy, and he can attest to that, is that I asked that the Community Action Board be part of any discussion when it came to any funding for CSBG. Any. I have yet to see one, except tonight it's coming, one statement made on any funds that asked us to meet on for anything for CSBG. And I didn't think it was fair, me personally, for a recommendation that I did. I take the blame for whatever I did. I didn't want Mr. Boyd, and I didn't take it like you were blaming anybody either. And I understood that. But I wanted you to understand that I'm the one who asked the board not to meet. I didn't want to be caught in a situation where I'm going to be caught, as I was in the past in other organizations, and breaking the law with the district attorney.
Okay, Mr. Jones.
Yeah, okay, Mike, number one, this board tried to meet. They did everything in their power to meet. And we met right in the training room, and the board, it was shut down, if I remember right, that the administration didn't have a right to tell them anything. That's where all the trouble started. I came to the council meeting, and I told him 3 or 4 times, Jimmy, you did something stupid, if you remember. On June 30th, 2016, the state came in and we had a meeting, myself, Daniel, Mr. Lafont, Mr. Bagala, Mr. Cantrell, Mr. Lassane, all of us in it, Mr. Boyd, Mr. Chiquette. And they explained over 3 hours how this program was supposed to work and what was the role for the board and how the board corresponds with the council. On July 5th, Jimmy wrote a letter clearing everything. But then all of a sudden, something happened June and he take control of everything. This board worked hard. I got a stack of papers in my truck right now. And if I knew y'all was coming up tonight to bring it, I would have brought them in here to show you all, this council, all the violations this community action agency had in the past. And this board came and straightened a lot of it out. A lot of wrongdoing, paying the relative bills, mortgages, everything. So I give kudos to this board because they did their best. They restructured and they came out and worked was right for community action. And so for the meeting with St. Mary, I went and I brought Mr. Lorraine along with me to try to straighten out this problem over here because it's a serious problem. And it's so serious now that October 12th, we probably be cutting from funds. Why? Because we got a bullhead parish president that don't want to adhere to the regulations. So, again, I'm a liaison for the council, for this board, but I can assure this council that this board been doing everything in the right direction.
Anyone else? Mr. Jimmy, I can't see if your light is on or not. Is it on?
My light's on now.
Okay, go ahead.
Number one, there's still a lot of discrepancies that's occurred. And we're getting more and more stuff from the state that hadn't been done. I will address that next meeting when you brought this all up because I disagree with a lot of things that was said. Number one, I don't have the information in front of me, and Ms. Stacy has pointed out a lot of things. I received that letter. I think that letter said that things are still going on, and if y'all don't meet, not because of y'all need to meet, because your regulation says y'all have to meet, and you'll have to approve things that in community action so we can get money. Now, I'm not saying that you violated anything. I'm just saying that you're out of, you're not meeting makes this board out of compliance. So y'all can say what you want and do what you want, but we still have a lot of problems in community action. And some of the problems have arisen since I talked to you last, Mr. Chiquette, and the state has sent us a letter. The last letter, I think, said that y'all have to meet. Now, not meeting is a violation of the regulations. So all I'm telling y'all is that y'all need to meet and y'all need to approve these actions that Stacy has brought up to you. Now, if you want to argue about who's right and who's wrong, we can go to Kingdom Come on this over here. But I can guarantee you one thing, that I didn't act in a manner not to see that this community would not be serviced. I'm tired of seeing things happening, and it was happening as I'm speaking right now until this day, things happened that was not, say, kosher, probably illegal. So anyway, we're going to find out as soon as I can get to these points. I'm not going to answer too much tonight because I want to make sure what I say tonight is exactly what it is. But y'all have to meet. That's not an if or and a but. You're supposed to meet 4 times a year. And if y'all don't do it, you're in violations. And that's what the funds, and that's what the letter said, that y'all have to meet. So, I mean, y'all can do what y'all want, but we need the board, we need everybody over here to make sure that the poor people and the elderly people get service. Everybody's gotta work together, but it can't be working if somebody is not gonna look up the fraud that's been going on. So, and it has been going on. So, let me tell you, we have to meet, we have to all get along, we need to get past this over here, and we need to meet so that we can service the poor people and the elderly people. And it's up to the board. I mean, y'all can meet if y'all want. If y'all don't want, then y'all in violation. And I will address this at another meeting.
Mr. Jones?
Yeah, you keep saying you're bringing up fraud again. Did you contact the board president? Did you contact Mr. Chiquette? Did you contact the council chairwoman? Did you contact the liaison for the council? All this accusation about fraud.
Mr.
Did
Jones,
you contact anybody?
Mr. Jones, I did an audit to start off with because we saw things that was not happening, was not right. When the audit had persisted, we saw things that were done illegal or we presumed that's illegal. We have everything down, we have documented it, and listen, you can talk here all you want. It's, what I did was perfect in my rights to do it and to make sure that this program runs right. And I want to see that the people who deserve the help gets the help. And you can talk and talk and talk, but talk is cheap. We just got to perform and do what's right for the people of this parish.
Well, if you want to do things that's right for the people of this parish, and you charging people with fraud, and others hollering somebody stealing, you should have brought yourself up a year ago when you took $39,000 illegal.
I
Okay,
didn't take-
let's move on. Let's move on.
May I answer that, Ms.
No, sir, we're not even going
No,
there. Thank you.
I didn't take nothing illegal.
Mr. Chiquette, were you done?
You took
Mr.
it.
Boyd?
No, I give the pay, but I just want to say one thing.
Sure. State your name and address for the record, please, Mr.
Richmond
Boyd.
Boyd Jr., 416 Jerry T. Pelche Drive, Thibodeau, Louisiana, 70301.
Okay.
And the only thing I want to say was, Mr. Chiquette,
Speak
give
into the mic, please.
Mr. Chiquette, give y'all a letter that was dated on October 8th. You know, it was an email that I got in the mail. It was sent out to Mr. Contrell and to that Stacy Savoy and to myself. And if y'all would just read that first paragraph will give y'all some clarification of how we supposed to function. You know, it's the October 8th from Workforce. Y'all just read that, y'all gonna see how we supposed to function. I talked to some of the people.
Just a minute. Ms. Carlene, could you read that one first paragraph, please?
This letter serves as notice of your agency's non-compliance with Section 676B of the Community Services Block Grant Reauthorization Act of 1998. In addition, your agency is out of compliance with the terms and conditions of the October 1st, 2017 to September 30th, 2019 grant agreement, which requires it to administer the CSBG program through a tripartite board that fully participates in the development, planning, implementation, and evaluation of the program to serve low-income communities. In order to be eligible to receive CSBG funding as a public agency, you must maintain an advisory board which meets the tripartite board requirements.
So could you read that last sentence one more time?
No, would you please read it? Excuse me, would you please?
Mr. Cantrell, you don't have the floor. Hold on 1 minute.
Could Ms. Colleen please read that last?
Okay, one more time, and then we really have to move on. Ms. Carlene,
In order to be eligible to receive CSBG funding as a public agency, you must maintain an advisory board which meets the tripartite board requirements.
Okay, and that's all I want to say, but I also want to let y'all know, I did talk to the State Workforce Commission. I was on the phone with them all day today, and they sent me some more information on how we're supposed to function, you know, of how we're supposed to function, and I will be getting a syllabus together so I can bring to
well,
you.
are they sharing that information with Parish President and the District Attorney?
I met with Ms. Ogeron. I'm the one that give her this letter that she faxed to y'all. She had it in her possession between 9 and 10 this morning. I went meet with her and give this to her.
Mr. Jimmy, you had something?
Yes, would you please read the entire letter? Don't take anything out of context, just read the whole
Okay.
thing.
I rest my case, Lucy, okay?
Read the next
Thank
two
you.
paragraphs, please.
Well, Mrs. Carleen, go ahead, read the rest.
It has come to our attention that Lafourche Parish Community Action Agency's Advisory Board has not held a board meeting since March 20th, 2018, and that the Advisory Board President is refusing to call a meeting even though the attached board meeting schedule has provided for such. Therefore, the state has determined that the Louisiana Parish Community Action Agency is out of compliance with the terms and conditions of funding and would like to offer technical assistance to assist your agency in becoming compliant. If technical assistance is required, please submit your written request for technical assistance via email to Joni Smith, and she gives her email address, by close of business on Tuesday, October 9th, 2018. To assure continuation of CSBG funding, please submit documentation that the advisory board has met and is actively involved with your agency's administration of the CSBG program, or a copy of the next scheduled board meeting notice to the state CSBG office at csbg@lwc.la.gov by Friday, October 12, 2018.
Okay, let the record show Councilman Lafont stepped in at 5:43 PM. Mr. Cantrell?
Yes, ma'am. And I want the record to also show that we did respond for technical support to the state. So,
What's that again? I'm sorry.
I said we did respond to the state and asking for technical support so we can be in compliance. So I want that to also go on the record.
Gotcha, okay. Mr. Chiquette, do you want this information you provided as part of the minutes today? Okay, he said yes. 5:43. Anyone else? Okay. Ms. Carleen?
Mr. Charles, is my mic on?
Yes.
Mr. Charles Mike Kale, if you'd approach the podium, Mr. Kale, state your name and address for the record, and please remember you have 3 minutes.
Mike, it seems like we connected at the hip. I'm running into you everywhere. It's twice in one day.
But that's what happens when you're busy.
Welcome.
Thank you. My name is Charles Mike Kelly, 282 East 98th Street, Cutoff. Okay.
Go ahead.
Good afternoon. Thank you for allowing me to speak here today. My name is Charles Mike Kelly, and I'm running for seat H on the Greater Lafourche Port Commission. I'm a lifelong resident of the 10th Ward, and I have a degree from LSU in business management. I'm CEO of Abdon Kale Offshore, a commercial real estate company, and I'm a director of a local bank. I was appointed as an interim member of the Port Commission for 4 months last year after the death of Mr. Wilbert Collins. I've continued to attend the Port Commission meetings even after my replacement was elected to fill the remainder of the term, so I could stay familiar with the important projects the commissioners and staff of the port are working on, such as Fouchon Island and the deepening of the channel. I serve on the Latency Hospital Board, and I previously served on the Lafourche Parish Housing Authority Board. I'm a leader in several service organizations, including the Knights of Columbus and the Rotary Club of Golden Meadow, as well as at my church. I've always been dedicated to serving our local people, and giving back to our community is important to me and my family. As part of that commitment, I will be donating my entire pay from the Greater Lafourche Port Commission to establish scholarships at Nichols State University for South Lafourche High School students. This will help our local youth to better themselves and in turn better our community. Port Fouchon and the South Lafourche Airport are vital to our community. In my experience as an interim port commissioner, as a vessel operator, as a real estate manager, as a bank director, and as a community volunteer, makes me uniquely qualified to serve on the Port Commission. I'm committed to working hard to continue the progress of the port, to bring good jobs here, to secure a better future for our families. It would be an honor to use my experience to serve you. I humbly ask for your vote on November 6th For Charles Mike Cully, number 74, for seat H on the Greater Lafourche Port Commission. Early voting is October 23rd to the 30th. Thank you for your support, and thank you for allowing me to speak here today.
Mike, the early voting again is 23rd, October 23rd through when?
The 30th?
October 30th. Okay, does anyone else? Oh, Mr. Otan.
I just want to thank him for his service to our community. Thank you, Mr. Colley.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah, I want to say the same thing, and donating your salary from the Port Commission. Love seeing our local students get to go to Nickel State with a little bit of help. And I met your lovely wife today. She's your campaign manager. She's awesome.
Right.
Anyone else?
She's my partner.
She's good. Right. All right, thank you.
Thank you.
And that's it. E, engineers, architect reports. Do we have any here? Welcome, Jack.
Thank you, Ms. Lucy. Jack Plazos with Picciola and Associates, 115 Picciola Parkway. I'm actually not going to present our normal presentation. I'll do that in 2 weeks. I just wanted to have a minute to mention that there are 2 items on the agenda that I'd like to bring to your attention. Item number 38 is the EDA grant program. This is the improvements to Airport Road. I mentioned a couple of weeks ago that we did receive 6 bids. Beverly Construction was the low bidder. The $920,014 bid is within the budget. This project is funded with EDA grant, a contribution from the Greater Lafourche Port Commission, and also funding with the Road Sales Tax District number 2. So I just wanted to mention that. And secondly, item number 33, I know I've talked about this 2 weeks ago, the Lafourche Community and Recreation Center. We did receive 6 bids back on September 6th. Duplantis Design Group made their recommendation to us, and we forwarded that along to award the base bid for that project to the tune of $3,794,500. So these are 2 items that are coming up on the agenda, and I just wanted to bring it to your attention.
Anything on the Choctaw levy?
I can tell you that we have been engaged pretty regularly with Department of Natural Resources. We made several additional submittals dealing with the hydrology of the system, details on the existing drainage and the changes to the drainage in the proposal. And at this point, the department has the ball to say, per se. You go back and forth. You can look on their website and see where submittals were made and who is, they're under review. The permit is under review with the state.
Okay. Any questions for Jack?
Just
Wow.
one,
Wait.
water still draining, Jack.
I'm glad. Thank you, Mr. Jerry.
Whew, good news, huh? Any other engineers or architects? No others? Okay. F, ordinance for discussion and ratification, number 11. Are you pulling that, Mr.?
Oh, wait a minute, I said
Okay.
something, somebody should have called on me.
Want me to read it first? Ordinance amending ordinance 5529 and amending and reenacting Chapter 4 Alcoholic Beverages, Article 2 License and Permit Requirements, Division 2 Dealers and Beverages of High Alcoholic Content, Section 4-45, Location of Retail Liquor Businesses near churches and schools limited of the Lafourche Parish Code of Ordinances to extend the distance from 300 feet to 500 feet as it pertains to alcohol permits granted. This is proposed by Melvin. Public hearing was held 9/25/18, and there was an amendment on it as well. Mr. Melvin, you wanted to speak on this before we move forward?
Yes, I'm going to pull this item, and I'd like to say why. Is that I called the Louisiana Department of Alcohol and was told that if it was extended to 500 feet, that in the future, if somebody wanted to sell a bar, like was previously brought up in a meeting, it could adversely affect people who want to sell that business, transfer that business to someone else, because they have to apply to get their own license. So I don't want to have any unintended or adverse consequences to existing businesses down the road. I've done everything in my power to deal with this issue, from DA opinions, calling alcohol and tobacco 2 to 3 times. I've emailed the group in St. Charles on how to, what alcohol and tobacco recommended they can do. And, you know, sometimes we try everything we can to help people, and we don't want to have a ripple effect in the whole parish with existing businesses. But again, that's the reason for me pulling this.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Melvin. Number 11 is pulled. G, public hearings and ordinances for ratification. Can I get a motion to open? Paraluz, second by Lafont. Any discussion? Being none, all in favor? Any opposed? Y'all awake tonight? All in favor? Any opposed? Public hearing is open. Number 12, ordinance providing for a 2018 supplemental appropriation 18-022 within the 2018 operation and maintenance budget to transfer excess funds from the off-duty witness fund 115 to the criminal court fund 113 in the amount of $750,000, and to transfer funds from the off-duty witness fund 115 to the Lafourche Parish Government General Fund 001 in the amount of $48,750 for payment reimbursements, and authorizing the parish president to sign, execute, and administer said transactions as provided for by Article 6 of the Lafourche Parish Homewood Charter. Moved by Lorraine, second by Parallel. Any discussion? Public 1 time, 2 times, 3 times? Any council discussion, anything from Mr. Cantrell? Being none. All in favor? Any opposed? Passes 8001 with 1 vacancy. Okay. 13, ordinance designating a yield sign to be placed on the West 151st Street coming from 3235 going to LA1, where the street narrows and makes a snake curve, placing the yield sign on the right side of where the snake begins. Galliano, Louisiana. Just reading as it's written. Galliano, Louisiana, Ward 10, District 9, Parish of Lafourche, State of Louisiana, requiring the placement of a yield sign and providing for penalties of the violation thereof. Moved by Lorraine, second by? Second by Grow. Any discussion?
Yes, let me explain that real quick. It is a snake, but it ain't me. What it is, I have the same problem on 217. We took care of that with a yield sign. It's coming from 3235 to LA1. It's a nice street, probably 18 feet wide. We don't have too many like that. But then when it comes to the snake, to get to the front for about 500 feet, I guess, 600 feet, you can barely pass a car. So what happened the other day, some old gentleman was coming, and then some young guy was coming this way, and then they met up, and he didn't want to back up, and, you know, he probably took advantage of the elderly man. So the old man called me, and I never ever thought about that. And I said, well, I had the same problem on 217. So we put that yield sign, and you could see the 500-600 feet if somebody's coming. You just stay right there. At least you're going to have the sign to tell you. Because we had nothing, so the law could have came, and there's nothing they can do because nothing was posted. And that's what we're talking about. Okay. But it's a real snake, but it ain't me.
Public 1 time, 2 times, 3 times. No, any further discussion? Mr. Lorraine? Your light still? Anything? Okay. All right. No further discussion. All in favor? Any opposed? Passes 8001. 1 vacancy. 14, ordinance providing for a variance for the Lafourche Parish Subdivision Regulation, Chapter 22, Article 6, Division 3, Roads, Section 22-408F, to not connect E. Winder Road to subdivision due to stormwater detention needs for Old Town Subdivision, Phase 2, as recommended by the Lafourche Parish Planning Commission at their August 30th, 2018 meeting. Moved by Jones, second by Grow. Any public 1 time, 2 times, 3 times? Any discussion from the council? Being none, all in favor. Mr. Lafont?
Variance. Ms. Pat's here. Is that through y'all, the variance?
Yeah. Yeah, it's, Ms. Pat, just state your name and address for the record, but I see it does say approved by, recommended
Yes,
by
Pat
the...
Mathern, Lafourche Parish Planning Manager, Matthews, Louisiana. Mr. LaFont, I have the engineer here that would like to go ahead. I would like for you to let him go ahead and explain to you the variance on the subdivision.
That's fine.
It's kind of something a little different, and I would like for him to explain it to you,
All right,
if that's okay.
that's perfect.
Thank you.
They wouldn't give me a variance, ain't.
Now I see you twice in one day.
Yeah, that's right. Gary LaBeouf, 314 East Bayou. I'm with the Duplantis Design Group. All right, Mr. LaFont, yeah, this project received sketch plat approval, preliminary approval at Planning Commission in August. So we have to go back through engineering and whatnot. So as part of that sketch plat process, there was a variance request to eliminate extending an existing street into the new subdivision. And in this case, we're not bending the rules to get by with it. We want to increase the drainage along that southern boundary of the subdivision because it needs it in that area. So by eliminating that cross connection, we pick up 100 by 100 foot of stormwater detention, which is massive back in that area. So that's the main reason for that variance request. We're going to have access from the west side of the subdivision as well as the north and east. So we're not painting ourselves into a corner here. We just want to increase drainage, maximize it, and go forward with it. So that's the reason for the variance request.
Yeah, and the reason I'm asking, because I had a developer here not a couple of years ago, and it was shot down by this council, but also by the planning commission, and I felt he had a good argument too. And they said, no, we need to have those cut-through streets. They weren't gonna back off, so that's why I want to ask the question, because if it's good for one, then it should be good for the other.
No, I agree. And in this case, with the drainage concerns of the area, you know, losing that to a street that you don't really need is, the drainage exceeds the need for a cross connection in that particular area, so.
Yeah, I don't know if y'all want to see the map, and if y'all want to look at it.
That's all.
All right.
Good?
Any further, Mike, Mr. Grow?
I was just going to add, this is where Jones and I kind of cross up, and in terms of our districts, and he had spoken last meeting about trying to get another pump over there. This area definitely needs as much drainage help as we can, so just having that extra footage will help, for sure.
I agree. Mr. LaFont?
I'm gonna vote for it, but y'all remember in the future that every situation is different, and I don't think Lafourche is like a major city like Baton Rouge and New Orleans where all the streets need to connect, because we cost a gentleman in my district a lot of money that he invested because we wouldn't vote for it, but just remember that.
Did the planning commission recommend it? The
No,
one
they
that was-
didn't.
Okay,
But we can overrule the planning commission.
right. Okay, any further discussion? Being none, all in favor? Any opposed? Passes 8-0-0 with one vacancy. Number 15, ordinance approving a lease agreement between Fletcher Technical Community College, owner lessor, and the Parish of Lafourche Parish for leasing the premises located at 1425 Tiger Drive, Thibodaux, Louisiana, 70301, for use as a polling place for Ward 6, Precinct 2, 3A, and 3B, and Ward 2, Precinct 9 of Lafourche Parish, and authorizing the parish president to sign, execute, and administer said agreement in any and all relevant documents. Moved by Jones, second by Grow. Any public one time, two times, three times? Any discussion from the council? Being none, all in favor? Any opposed? Passes 8-0-0-1 with one vacancy. Number 16, ordinance amending Chapter 2, Article 2, Section 2-36 of Lafourche Parish Code of Ordinances to change the polling location name for Ward 1, Precincts 2, 3A, and 3B, and Ward 2, Precincts 9, from Louisiana Technical College campus to Fletcher Technical Community College, to further establish the effective date of same, and authorizing the parish president to sign, execute, and administer any and all relevant documents. Moved by Jones, second by Grow. Public one time, two times, three times. Any discussion from the council? Being none, all in favor? Any opposed? Passes 8-0-0 with one vacancy. Number 17, ordinance amending ordinance number 6082 that approved a lease agreement between Lafourche Parish School Board, owner, lessor, and the Parish of Lafourche Parish for leasing the premises located at 101 School Lane, Thibodaux, Louisiana, 70301, for use as a polling place for Ward 6, Precincts 1A and 1B of Lafourche Parish, and authorizing the parish president to sign, execute, and administer said agreement in any and all relevant documents. Can someone move for me? Moved by Melvin, second by Paraloo. Public one time, two times, three times. Any discussion from the council? Being none, all in favor? Any opposed? Passes 8-0-0 with one vacancy. What's this for, Ms. Collins?
The next one.
Oh, you want to speak next? Okay. 18, ordinance amending ordinance number 6110, that amended ordinance number 5991, and ordinance number 6019, which adopted the 2018 operation and capital budget for the Lafourche Parish Council, as well as setting the salaries of unclassified employees as provided for by Article 5 of the Lafourche Parish Home Rule Charter, and authorizing the parish president to sign, execute, and administer any and all relevant documents. Public one time, two times. Oh, can I get a motion? Let's see, moved by Lafont, second by Otan. Public one time, two times, three times, Mr. Chiquette?
Paul Chiquette, 223 Twin Oaks, raised from Louisiana. I'd like permission to have Mr. Boyd pass this out.
Mr. Boyd, working overtime?
Now I'm going to do my job. My job is to advise this board of anything that's going to happen with CBSG funds. I want you to carefully listen and read what this ordinance is telling you. The most important thing it's doing, it reads this statement. In addition to salaries and ordinance procedures, the parish government is hiring a new person for community action with federal funds. CBSG funds. Not one time did the administration or the interim director inform the board they were doing anything with CBSG funds. Turn the paper until the section that gets to the numbers that they're giving you for community action. In a letter the administration wrote to the district attorney, it stated, we have 4 employees, this was done on May the 18th. 4 employees, 2 paid by the parish, 2 paid by CBSG funds. All of us can count. If we count the number of employees that's on this list that's presented to this council, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We have operated community action with the 4 or 5 people and never had a need to add an individual employee. This employee will cost $31,777 a year. Do you have any idea what that $31,771 will do for the poor in this parish? We have operated community action without it before. Now they are acting without CBSG requirements, without following CSBG guidelines, that they're going to add a new community action person for $31,000. Divide that by 100. If we're looking at $100 assistance per person, that's 331 people. This is just the beginning of what they're doing with CBSG that this board was never informed. I was informed when I read this agenda. And it states very clearly, the funds are going to be federal funds.
Mr. LaFont?
I have one.
Oh, go ahead, sorry.
I have one more thing to do to show me. You go to the Head Start section. It says no changes are going to be made. Please look at what I passed you and go to the Head Start section, and every one of them was changed. This board needs to know that. The salaries on every one of them was changed. Any questions?
Mr. LaFont, you had something a few minutes ago? No. Mr. Jimmy? Yes. You want to address?
Not at this time,
Not at this time.
yes, until I get more information.
I would request you carefully watch how you vote on this position.
Mr. Jimmy, can y'all help us understand? Because if not, I'm gonna pull it. I'm gonna ask to pull it.
Mr. Jimmy?
You said not at this time. Y'all said y'all needed to vote on it before a certain date, so.
Right, if we don't vote, okay, go ahead.
Mr. Abady. Everyone, please wait till you're recognized. Go ahead, Mr. Abady.
This proposal is for the budget positions. It does not mean that those positions are going to be filled. And of course, you can't pay for a position with CSBG funds unless you actually have CSBG funds that are awarded to you. So we're putting the cart way ahead of the horse here. The CSBG program provides you with the guidelines for paying your employees. So there's no wild card here that, you know, the fact of the matter is, we've heard Mr. Jones tell us many times how we needed outreach. In fact, the reason why we had to have Friday services that we've heard from Mr. Boyd and Mr. Jones is so that we could have outreach. So now we've got an outreach employee in the budget. But, you know, it just doesn't necessarily fit everybody's political agenda. As far as the no changes on the Head Start employees, this goes through, the Head Start prepares their own budget, and they provide these numbers. So if you don't want to approve the Head Start budget, then that's, of course, within the power of the council.
Mr. LaFont, you had something else?
Oh, no, I'm sorry.
Mr. Jones?
Yeah, I just want to clear up something. Yeah, Mr. Jones did say outreach workers. There's a difference between outreach workers and going out and do outreach work. We got 2 outreach workers there already. We said on the Fridays, they did all their paperwork and everything, and that's the board right here, to go out and do outreach work. That's reach out to the community. That's not hiring people.
Mr. Grow?
Councilman Melvin, aren't you the liaison for Head Start?
Yes.
I mean, I'm not a genius by any means, but didn't we have something a few meetings ago about an increase that came down for Head Start?
Yes,
like
it was
a
for Head
raise
Start.
that
It
was.
was a little different than this, but it was.
But I mean, could that have
deferred quite a
affected this
bit.
number? I mean, I remember something coming that said, it's not a raise, something from the federal government we need to approve. It's not costing the parish
That
any
was-
more money.
That was from a grant, yeah.
So that could affect possibly these numbers?
Well, Head Start is separate, what I was told, and that's why I had to continue it, defer it.
That would be why we'd have a difference between
because
the item on the 27th of February and this item today, is all I'm questioning. I mean,
I was told there's a difference because, again, we just wanted some clarification legally before we proceeded with that last item, the last meeting.
Yeah.
That we voted on to proceed.
I know we just had someone Head Start.
Mr. Jones?
We have the budget books. We received the budget books last week or today. Why wasn't this put in the budget?
Mr. Cantrell? Mr. Cantrell?
This ordinance for the unclassified employees.
Mr. Abady, are you going to answer questions for Mr. Cantrell now?
When he asked me to, and he asked me to answer this one. The budget numbers for the payroll for the unclassified employees is submitted as a separate item every year. That's why it's not in the budget book, as part of the regular budget ordinance.
Mr. Jones?
I disagree with that Head Start, Community Action, and all libraries are in the budget book. So it's not separate.
Mr. Chiquette, you're nodding your head?
Sure.
What? Were the Head Start salaries approved 2 meetings ago? So the change is because what? What is the change? They were approved 2 meetings ago, Mr. Melvin said. Mr. Cantrell? Mr. Abady? whoever.
Okay, like I said, the Head Start submits these numbers to us every year we do the same ordinance every year, or a resolution every year with regard to the unclassified employees. So Head Start submitted their numbers like this. So, like I said, if you want Head Start to come back and go over the numbers with you, they operate separately, they're on their own federal funds. So
the administration doesn't review any of the numbers that they give you, you just pass it on to the council, is that correct?
they administer their own funds.
Anything else?
Yes, Mr. Chairman,
Mr.
how much money do we put in the Head Start budget per year, the parish?
Mr. Abady?
I don't have that information at my fingertips. I'm sure it's in that big old binder that you got.
Yeah, just like the budget, over 200,000. I request, defer this or pull this, Mr. LaFont, if you mind. You can pull it, let him come with a new one.
Mr. LaFont? Anything else? Anyone else? Who was the second on that, Ms. Carleen? I don't remember.
Mr. Otan.
Mr. Otan?
But y'all approved that, didn't y'all approve their salaries 2 meetings ago?
That's
The
what
Head Start salary?
We
Mr.
approved,
LaFont?
I think we approved a 3% COLA raise,
Right.
is what we approved. That would be the difference on there, but
Well, that one's
it
different.
doesn't account for the
So we shouldn't even be thinking
31,000.
about, this has nothing to do with that one. This has to do with,
The 31,000.
yeah, $31,777 for that community outreach worker.
Yeah.
That's the new thing. Mr. Jaquette said, well, look, I need y'all to look at these other things. That was approved a couple meetings ago. Was
Yeah,
all I
and it
was
said-
saying. Let's
it
get back to the community action outreach worker. That's what
That's
what he wants to prove.
That's the issue.
Yeah.
Right. Mr.
I
Grow?
wouldn't pull it because of Head Start. That was already approved. I remember approving that.
Yeah, and if I do pull it, I'm not pulling for the Head Start, I'd be pulling for the $31,000 salary to get that corrected and come with it back.
Has the person that's been laid off been rehired in any of this new positions? Just curious. Mr. Cantrell?
Not until the contracts are approved, we don't have the funds to do it. There's different funds too.
But I was under the impression that someone else was hired and that it wasn't the person that had just gotten laid off. Am I mistaken?
I'm not exactly positive.
Mr. Boyd?
Want me to state my name and all again?
You did it once?
Yeah, I did.
Okay, go ahead.
Well, this is what happened with community action.
Oh, you got to say it again. She said
Okay.
it didn't count for
Richmond
my
Boyd Jr., 416 Jerry T. Peltier Drive, Tippett, Louisiana, 70301. What actually happened was when Mr. Jimmy took over, he hired a lady without the board's approval. Okay? Then when stuff got a little bit out of line, he was supposed to, they was going around saying they let the lady that was in charge of the heat, they let her go. But she never got fired. She never left her job. She was still there. But that was just to mess up with the public view that she lost her job because I didn't call a meeting. That was all in the public. Mrs. Chiquette could reattest you that. She was working the whole time. But recently, they let go the girl that he hired last. The one that he hired last, he let her go. But the other one was already there, never went nowhere. But to make the public, Miss Lucy, to make the public have an ill feelings about me and the board, he was telling people that this girl lost her job. Mr. Michael Groter heard that too. He lost her job because I didn't call a meeting. And that was a lie.
Okay.
And I'm finding out a lot of stuff now that's a lie.
Mr. Jones?
Yes, the lady that was charged as CSBG and LAHEAP coordinator was laid off. The new lady is still there. And laid off, she getting paid out of CSBG and LAHEAP funds. but it's also going through the general fund of community action, Fund 142. And if you look in your bonnets, you can see that, her salary.
Is that correct, Mr. Jimmy?
We're gonna have Ms. Stacy come here next meeting so she can clarify all this over here. I mean, all these allegations are false, and they know it. They're just playing the political game again. Ms. Stacy will be here to address anything y'all have, and whatever questions y'all have, y'all can ask Ms. Stacy. She's very familiar with everything, and whatever she's done is to make sure that we do the right thing. So we're gonna leave it at that for now.
Mr.
until next-
Jones?
The lady's getting paid out of the CSBG fund. She is the CSBG coordinator and the LAHEAP coordinator. That's what she was getting paid out of those funds, and it was coming out of the general fund, in which this council put in at the end of the year for the director's salary and the CSBG coordinator's salary. But she got laid off, but they hired the friend. And that's wrong. It's out without coming to the board.
Mr. Lafont?
Mr. Jimmy, are we,
Yes.
so you go with us, pulling it, deferring it till next meeting?
Let's defer to the next meeting.
If Noonie, you pull your second, I'll defer it.
I will pull it if it's only deferred, not if it's gonna be, completely removed, because I think it's something we need to move on. My understanding is they're just putting a position in there for the potential. You have a board that, I mean, these guys, you know, they dedicated, they're serving the community. They haven't met since March, though. They may be in favor of this. I don't know. They haven't met.
I'm not,
So I'm not asking a question, because look, once again, I thank y'all for y'all service, I absolutely do. But if you haven't met since March, how do we know they're not even in favor of this? My understanding is they're just simply putting this in there for the option, that option to be there. So I don't have a problem with it, but if we're only gonna defer it, I'm okay with that. As long as
Yeah,
we're not pulling.
I'm not pulling, I wanna
I wanna keep it in, okay.
Yeah, I'm gonna
Then I'll
defer it.
Then I'll remove my second.
Mr. Jimmy, you had something else?
Yes, okay. The funds were put in by the parish to pay a certain salary. We got written up by the state. There was supposed to be, her salary was supposed to be paid by the grants, not by parish funds. So we're gonna straighten this all up next week, the next meeting. When the next meeting comes about, Ms. Stacy will be here, and we have a lot of things from the state that she can bring up. And let's wait till next meeting and let her get a chance to clear it all up.
All right, he pulls his second, I'd like to defer it to the next council meeting, please.
And Mr. Jimmy, in the future, can you please, when an item is on the agenda, have everyone there that can answer the questions for us so we can actually get something done instead of deferred? Okay, so second is pulled by OTAF. The item is deferred by Lafont until, what's the date, Ms. Carleen?
October 23rd, next meeting is for
To
the
10/26,
23.
23?
10/23/18.
10/23/18.
On the vote.
Can I get a motion that's by
I move
Lafont,
it.
second by Paraloo? Any discussion? Being none, all in favor? Any opposed? Item is deferred till 10/23/18, 8001, vacancy. Mr. Lafont, you have something else?
No, I'm sorry.
Okay. 19, ordinance providing for a 2018 supplemental appropriation 18-023 within the 2018 operation and maintenance budget for funding received for prop washing permits and authorizing the parish president to sign, execute, and administer said transaction as provided for by Article 6 of the Lafourche Parish Home Rule Charter. Moved by Lorraine, second by Mr. Otam. Public one time, two times, three times. Any discussion from the council? No discussion? Can someone explain to me what prop washing permits are, Mr. Cantrell?
The lady with Coastal's on, it's something that we wash.
Okay.
They got a criteria that they follow.
Amanda Wazan, 4876 Highway 1, Matthews, Louisiana. For prop washing, essentially the method is a type of dredging where whenever you have to like deepen a channel, it uses the propeller of the boat to dig into it. So other methods include like bucket dredging, where you can remove the sediment, put it on the marsh, beneficially use it. Prop washing, you get no benefits from it. So we Under parish ordinance, we started charging 50 cents a cubic yard to compensate for the lost benefits. And this is the first year in several years that we've gotten any kind of significant amount of funding into that fund. So we're using it for the Golden Meadow Marsh Creation Project.
Okay. Mr. LaFont?
I got a question.
Yeah.
So you said to get no benefit out of prop washing?
Not in terms of like coastal restoration, you know.
Yeah, so if I own a dock and I got 3 slips and one gets filled in with silt from off my property, you saying I have to have a permit to get that silt out my dock?
I mean, under state law, that would require a coastal use permit and a coastal zone activity certificate. So, if you're gonna be using prop washing, rather than bucket dredging or whatnot, you would need, you need a permit anyway, but then the 50 cents a cubic yard would be kicked in for the prop washing.
And how do you get accurate on the, you go down there and take measurements of the mud?
No,
or-
it's just, it's based on the application that they submit. I mean, we have to go by, hope that they're truthful about it. Essentially, when they submit the application, they have to submit plats, so we make sure that the plat dimensions are consistent with what's in the application. So we just kind of we go by what's on the application.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
no,
if
we
I
don't go
tell
by
you it's 10 yards, you're gonna
$5.
take it as 10 yards, okay?
Yeah, we'll take it. But yeah, we have the Golden Meadow Marsh Creation Project that's should be starting up towards the end of the year, so we'll provide that funding that'll go towards the construction of that.
Mr. Melvin?
Yes, how you doing this evening? I was just curious to make sure. I understand permits in general are to make sure that we're staying in some sort of compliance, whether it's building a house, a shed, digging a ditch, what have you, wetlands, all kind of permits, CZM permits. And I know that it's to maintain some sort of compliance, again, to make sure that somebody doesn't start digging out something that affects everybody else. Again, collateral damage or unintended effects. What was exactly this put in place for?
So the prop washing, you mean?
Yeah.
So whenever, let's say, as a stance, this community, the CZM Advisory Board has taken a stance against prop washing. There's no benefits to it. When a company, so generally we will comment to change the method of dredging, to bucket dredging, to put it on the, adjacent marsh and have some benefit. With prop washing, it's just churning that sediment up. It's compromising the shoreline, so it can have increased erosion rates along the shoreline. So this is just to compensate for that lost benefit. And so we can apply that 50 cents a cubic yard to a project.
Okay.
But this is the first year in several years that we've gotten, since generally companies are pretty receptive to changing the method of dredging when they have to pay this fee. And so this is the first year we've actually gotten a substantial amount.
And the reason I ask is because when people see it and they like, oh, not another government permit, because just as an example, if some in other places like Washington, D.C. had their way, they want to tax the air we breathe, carbon stamps, et cetera. So, I'm just trying to give an example, so thank you.
Yeah, it just helps compensate for that, potential for lost benefit. Yep.
Thank you.
Okay.
Okay, no further discussion. All in favor? Any opposed? Passes 8-0-0-1. Vacancy. Can I get a motion to close? Moved by Paraluz, second by O10. Any discussion? Being none, all in favor? Any opposed? Passes 8-0-0-1. Vacancy. Mr. O10.
Item H, proposed ordinance. Item number 20, proposed ordinance amending ordinance number 1621 to reduce the speed limit from 20 miles per hour to 10 miles per hour on Schneider Lane, Ward 6, District 2, Parish of Lafourche, State of Louisiana, providing for the placement of speed check by radar and children at play signs, and providing penalties for the violations thereof by Councilwoman she stepped out. Someone sponsored that. So, sponsored by Bo Melvin. Thank you, Bo. Item number 21, proposed ordinance approving an active donation between Lafourche Parish government and Drainage District Number 1 for the donation of one drum grinder and authorizing the parish president to sign, execute, and administer said donation and any and all relevant documents by Councilman Otan for the administration. Somebody wants to move on that for me. Thank you, Mr. Jerry Lafont. Item number 22, proposed ordinance approving a party wall and cross-access easement servitude agreement between Regency Cutoff LLC and Lafourche Parish Government and authorizing parish president to sign, execute, and administer said agreement and any and all relevant documents. Moved by Councilman Lorraine for the administration. Item number 23, proposed ordinance to adopt the 2019 operations and capital budget for Lafourche Parish Council, as well as setting salaries of unclassified employees as provided for by Article 5 of Lafourche Parish Home Rule Charter by Councilwoman Esposito for the administration.
Hang on a second, Nooney. I have a substitute ordinance for number 23. Ms. Carleen, could you pass that?
Everybody has a copy? Ms. Kelly put a copy at your seats. And the reason the changes, and she's quite explanatory on the first page of the ordinance, that biweekly salaries under the legislative branch was not included. Community Services Director title struck through to be removed. Homeland Security Emergency Preparedness Director title struck through to be removed. Biweekly salary total under executive branch had to be included. Biweekly salary totals added for all Head Start positions. Assistant Head Start Manager position struck through to be removed. Salary information added for Child Outcome Special Disabilities Coordinator position. Biweekly salary total added under Head Start. Biweekly salary total added under Community Action. Chief Medical Legal Investigative Administration or Administrative's annual salary corrected to read $51,850.26. Forensic Legal Investigator hourly rate and annual salary corrected to match budget as submitted by Human Resources. Medical Legal Investigator hourly rate, biweekly salary, and annual salary corrected to match budget as submitted by Human Resources. Assistant Coroner 3 positions, annual salary added. Coroner annual salary corrected to read $50,192.39. Coroner Clerk biweekly salary and annual salary corrected. Medical Investigator hourly rate, biweekly salary, and annual salary corrected to match budget as submitted by Human Resources. So instead of them making all these changes, once y'all have the ordinance up and ready to vote on it, it was much more conducive to do it tonight and do a substitute ordinance. That way it's going to look clean and it'll all be corrected when y'all vote, when y'all accept the budget ordinance. Okay? Does he have to say anything else? This is just me. Substitute ordinance policy is supposed to move by loose. Just say it again, Mr. Oakley. Move by loose. Substitute ordinance.
Okay, so I'll read the substitute ordinance in place of for item number 3 by Councilwoman Esposito for the administration. Correct. Proposed ordinance, let's scroll back.
You don't have to review that, just to say that the substitute ordinance was moved by Ms. Lucy.
Okay, so this substitute ordinance was moved by Councilwoman Esposito as item number 23. Thank you. That concludes proposed ordinances.
Thank you, Councilman Otan.
I have a question.
Mr. Grow.
So, I'm looking at 3 different things that show the Head Start substitute teacher. One that was presented by people that came to the podium. One that was in the agenda item from earlier. And then this one. And they're all 3 different. So, I knew we voted on some changes, but we need to find what's the right number. All 3 of these are different. And I'll give that to y'all right now to look at. I don't know if it affects this, but one of these, I don't know if one of them's right, but all 3 are different.
Well, this is proposed, so they can look into it,
Okay.
right? Mr. It wasn't? Mr. Jimmy, was any of these changes
It's got to be right in the budget book.
covered in this substitute ordinance?
I don't know. I really don't know.
Hang on a second. Ms. Carleen?
The substitute ordinance I just read, Mr. Michael, is that maybe why you're seeing changes? Because all the changes made to the substitute ordinance?
No, please get on mic, Mr. Michael.
None of them are changes, none of them are underlined, just all three are different. We had one submitted from the podium earlier, we had one in article number, item number 18, and then now we have this one coming up in 22. And Head Start was brought up by Mr. Jaquette. I looked at it versus something else, different, as he mentioned. And then I'm looking at it a third time, and it's different 3 times.
Maybe somebody
So I
from
just
finance.
would like to,
Somebody from
Can
finance.
someone from finance, is there someone from finance that can answer this? Mr. Jimmy is
Ms. Connie is here. Ms. Connie Dway is here, Sue.
please state your name and address for the record, please.
Connie Dewey, 104 Juniper Street, Thibodaux, Louisiana. The substitute, when we originally did the budget ordinance for 2019, we were under time constraints, so a lot of the biweekly stuff was not done. The original ordinance that they brought up earlier was the old salary stuff. However, the substitute one has the 2% COLA that was just voted on. And we got that information from the Head Start person. So the actual good one is your substitute.
And you're sure, right? You're sure, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Excited to get an answer. Thank you. Mr. Otan?
My question is, there's a lot of changes under the coroner's staff. The coroner's aware of all this, he's in agreement with all of that?
Okay, what happened there was the sheet that we got from Human Resources, they had several different columns, and one of them, when I originally did the ordinance, I picked up the first column without taking the additional dollar and whatever else cent. So I had to go back and redo the corrected amounts. So yes, it is budgeted in 2019 for these figures.
Okay, the reason I ask is because it goes from 294 originally proposed, amended to 265. So that's a significant reduction in the salaries that he has. Was wondering if the coroner's aware of that and agreement that that's what's expected? Or is this gonna be something that he's blindsided by, that he's gonna have 30,000 less? That's my only question.
No, sir, one of the positions, I think it was the legal investigator, it was a typo.
It was double.
And, yeah.
Okay, thank you, appreciate it.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Oh, I'm sorry, I couldn't see your light, Mr. Melvin.
Yes, I'll usually Ms. Vicky's here whenever there's anything going on with Head Start, but I'll be sure she's at the next meeting or whenever we have these things in the future. But I know that one item was continued, and I hope that clears up a little bit just now. Thank you.
Anyone else?
Good with the substitute ordinance?
Okay. I, schedule of budget hearings and enactment of budget ordinance. 24, schedule first budget hearing. Can someone move for me? Moved by Jones. Second by Otan. Okay.
Okay. For our first budget public hearing, we can either have it on November 12th, which is a Monday. Mr. Jimmy assures me he's not going to give us the Monday off because of Veterans Day. I checked that out before to make sure. So we can either have it on the Monday or the Tuesday, which is your regular council meeting. Y'all decision. You can either do 12, 13. And the second budget hearing, we can either do 13, 14, depending on when y'all hold the first one. So we need to vote on the first budget public hearing. Y'all want to do Monday or Tuesday?
Monday or
Monday, Tuesday, or Tuesday, Wednesday? for the first and second budget hearings.
Okay, so I have to get a vote on the Monday. Just a minute, Mr. LaFont. I'm going to get a vote on Monday, Tuesday.
Monday or Tuesday for the first budget public hearing.
Monday or Tuesday. So it's Monday and Tuesday, or Tuesday and Wednesday? Okay, so all those in favor of the Monday, Mr. LaFont, go ahead.
I'd like to not move on Monday, because it's Veterans Day, and if people want to come over here and speak, and especially if they're veterans, they might have something planned, I'd like to move it to a different day,
Well,
just
let's
to
do
honor our
it.
veterans.
That's a good
Let's
point.
do it the 13th and 14th then.
Can I get a vote on doing it on the 13th and 14th?
Second.
Moved by Jones, second by Otan. All in favor? Y'all, all in favor? Any opposed? Passes 8-0-0-1 vacancy.
So our first budget public hearing will be held on November 13th, which is the same date as our regular scheduled meeting. So I'm going to ask that Finance please send us the shorter list, the less intrusive list for that meeting like we usually do every year, and then the longer one on the special meeting. So now we're going to do item 26.
Hang on a second, what time will we do that, Ms. Carleen? Is it,
Normally at 5, unless
do
y'all
it-
want to make it a different hour for the.
but I'm saying if our regular meeting is scheduled for 5.
We do it during our meeting.
Okay, it's during our meeting, all right.
Yes.
That's good. Okay.
Okay. 26, schedule enactment of the budget ordinance. I'm looking at November 27th, our second regular scheduled council meeting.
Okay, so this one's the 13th, this one's the 14th. Can someone move on that for me? Moved by Gross, second
Excuse
by...
me, Ms. Lucy, is
Yes,
that
sir?
Thanksgiving week?
The 20th, 19th is a Thanksgiving week.
Okay, thank you.
We're off on the 22nd and the 23rd, which is the Thursday, and of course, we're off on Fridays. But that's the week of the 19th, Mr. Cantrell. This is the following week, our second regular scheduled council meeting,
So what did you suggest?
27th. Unless you want to do it on the 26th.
Does that meeting usually take a while, Ms. Carleen?
That's when you can have most of your budget amendments, unless y'all want to call a meeting on the 19th or 20th to do budget amendments, depending on how many we have. Last year, we had to do a special meeting because we had so many. So it just depends on what y'all intend to do with that.
I don't know if we ought to schedule that during a regular meeting. I think we maybe...
Your budget amendments?
Right.
Yeah.
Because we don't know how many there'll be.
Okay, but we
What do
still
y'all
need to
think?
enact
Mr.
the...
Grow?
I would say we can go to Plan B if, like we had to last time, and call a special meeting. I say we have it on the 27th. I pray that we don't have what we had last time.
I'll pray with you.
Yep. All right, so...
So we're going to
we
schedule
have
the
a-
budget, to enact the budget ordinance then, on the 27th. So
Okay.
between the 14th and the 27th, you'll need to have special meetings to hear budget amendments. Or if there's any left over, you still can do them on the 27th. If you
Okay.
want to call one special meeting and then put a few on the 27th. Because we'll do that before y'all enact the budget.
But for now, we're just doing 27th.
That's
And
right.
don't call a
That's
special
it. You
meeting.
can call a
Okay, can I
special
get
meeting.
Michael said the 27th, second by Jones. All in favor? Any opposed? Passes 8-0-0-1.
Thank y'all.
Vacant. He's thinking positive. Good.
I'm thinking positive.
J, resolutions 27, resolution to fill the vacancy for council, District 5, as required by the Lafourche Parish Home Rule Charter, Article 3, Section 2C. Can someone move on that for me? Moved by Otan, second by Melvin. And this is deferred from 9/25/18 council meeting. Okay, so let me explain what we're going to do on this one. 8 people are now going to decide who represents Bayou Blues, around 11,000 people. So we accepted resumes through email, or they dropped them off. We had 4 people. One person withdrew their name this afternoon. And so what we'll do, since we have 3 people, right, Ms. Carleen? We have 3 people now. What we'll do is we're going to go old school and do paper ballots. So each one of us will, before we do that, we're going to give each person that's here a chance to speak for a few minutes. And then we'll do paper ballots. 5, that's right, 5 are required to appoint. So we'll do the first vote, and this is after you all speak. We'll do the first vote. If we get 5, a majority, and 5, then that person will be appointed. If we don't get 5, the one with the least amount of votes will be removed from the equation, and then we'll re-vote. And so whoever's the 5th of that, whoever gets 5 votes of those 2 will be District 5 council rep. Does that make sense? We all following this? This is how the school board appointed their superintendent. So, what's that? Right, so after you will all pass down your votes to me, and then we'll read them out loud. I'll read them out loud, and then Ms. Carleen will record them. So, if everyone's understanding that, Mr. Groh?
Can we take a 5-minute break? In case they weren't prepared or knew, I mean, how many are here, actually?
There are 2 gentlemen here. Yeah. Is anyone else needing a break? Okay. LaFont shaking his head yes. Well, let's take a vote. And y'all ready for a break? A break moved by LaFont, by Groh, second by Otan. All in favor? Any opposed? Okay, passes 7, what is it, 7-1?
7 yeas, 1 nay.
7 yeas, 1 nays, 0 absent, 1 vacancy, and I feel like, you guys, I'm sorry, it's like after this commercial break, so we'll be back in 5 minutes. Council meeting is going to come back to order at 6:54 p.m. Return to order. And coming back to order. Okay. All right, so one of the applicants, Mr., how do I pronounce his name? Cal McKee? Mackey?
No, it's Mackey. Positive.
Okay. Last council meeting, he said that he notified us that he had already had a vacation scheduled, so he won't be here today. Normally, when that happens, it's not a good situation, but we all knew ahead of time, so I know we've all looked at his resume, and we won't hold that against him that he couldn't be here because he thought this was gonna happen last meeting. And we want to let you all speak in order of when we received your resumes. So, Ms. Carleen,
Mr. Jacuzzo.
so Mr. Jacuzzo's here and Mr. Shrigley? Okay, did I say that correctly? Okay. Mr. Jacuzzo was first?
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Jacuzzo, you have a few minutes to just explain why you want to represent District 5, and name and address first for the record, please.
My name is Craig M. Jacuzzo. I live at 381 Osea Skyline, Houma, Louisiana, Lafourche Parish line in Bayou Blue. I basically am applying for this because 47 years ago, I was raised in a house between 2 cane fields in an area called Bayou Blue. I'm one of 9 children. My mother and fathers were laborers, and we weren't dirt floor poor, but we were concrete floor poor. And we knew that the only thing we had was representation in an area that was divided and so close to 2 parishes. I have lived my life in the area that I am asking to serve as an appointee. I have no interest in running for this office, but I have interest to provide stability to a district that I love and have served my entire adult life as a public servant. I have been in law enforcement since the age of 17 and a half years old. working for the Lafourche Parish Sheriff's Office, where I service District 5. The soles of my shoes have walked on that district street and serviced every socio-economical status individual in that district. I have worked in the recreation and cut the first blade of grass of those 90 acres that we deal with the sewage, the water, the flooding. And now, if you look, it's the focal point of Bayou Blue, where we have schools, our senior citizen, our water park, our baseball fields, our gym, our Head Start, our senior citizens. My back has sweat, my brow has been wet, and I've provided the labor besides the vote and the tax base. I own property in District 5. I own a home in District 5. And for 47 years, I lived at 3042 Bayou Blue Road. I lived at 200 Mazarac, which is the recreation, and now in Bayou Blue. I promise you I won't be arrested for not living in my district. I bring to you the resume that is heavily loaded. I'm heavily educated, but the most important thing is this. Education comes, but experience and the people come first. Public service is what I've been committed to, and for the last 15 years, I am currently the police chief at Nichols State, where I've widened my services to a 9-parish area. But I promise you this, as my career and my resume and me up front here talking, is I will give it my best. I will work the hardest that I can. And I know this, District 5 needs it. We need stability, and we need representation that are here. So when you look at grassroots, when you look at homegrown, you look at Craig Jacuzzo. Because District 5 and District 11 and those cane fields and those pumpkin patches are now schools, are now subdivisions, are now recreations, and is the growing area within the Lafourche Parish. I'm a graduate of Central Lafourche, Go Green and Gold. I went to Racing Junior High, and I went to Bayou Blue. So I went through every educational component that you can. So I can relate to the drainage issues, the recreational needs, the traffic concerns, the drainage that is occurring in certain areas that people have addressed because I live there, and the concerns of our water pressure and our fire service needs. So I'm asking you to consider me. I'm coming here to volunteer for this, and wherever this goes, know this. If you ever need anything from Craig Jacuzzo, I'm in Bayou Blue, in District 5. I'm at Nichols State University, and my phone and my services are always there to help you. And that's what we're here for. Thank you.
Thank you. Hang on a second, Mr. Jacuzzo. All right, council members, any questions? Mr. Perilou.
Yeah, hey, Craig, how you doing?
All right, sir.
We went to high school together, too. I remember you there. You seem pretty passionate about District 5 and getting some good representation and stuff. Why no interest in actually running for the seat when it becomes open again?
Well, because I think that there's individuals that's probably committed. There's individuals that want to do this. I'll be able to provide the stability and the insight for them to help those individuals. For me to seek a public office in my profession, I kind of just wanted to be able to do my community service in this role. I'm not really concerned about the election of that.
Okay, and as an employee at Nichols State, you work for the state, correct?
Yeah, that's correct. I'm an unclassified employee with the university.
Okay, and there's no conflict with being a state employee and serving as a councilman for the parish?
No, sir. It's two different levels of government. It's a step down. I'm also a college professor, which we are protected by an educational increment that allows us to be able to participate in public position.
Thank you.
Mr. Melvin.
Good evening, Chief Jacuzzo, and thank you for applying.
Thank you.
I think you do a great job at Nichols. I feel safe on the campus night or day, and I don't live far from the campus. It's in my district. I was going to ask you the same thing Councilman Perilou asked, but since he asked it, my next question is there anybody in Bayou Blue more qualified than you to run?
I believe that everyone...
I don't know many people from Bayou Blue, but...
I'm flattered by that. There's individuals that bring business. There's individuals that probably will bring government. There's individuals that will probably bring a perspective to public safety. I think that I've worked to make my credentials for whatever endeavor I reach. I think it would be arrogant and cocky to think that there is no one that can match or do what I want. But I'm sure there are qualified individuals, and I know I have done in the past, would assist them to be successful in there. And just know this, Nichols is a city within a city. And, you know, it keeps you busy, so
Right,
that's one of the
and I'm
things.
sure there's some great people in Bayou Blue.
Yeah.
It's just, I've never heard somebody come up and tell us a resume and carry it good with your experience, and
Thanks.
you have a wide footprint, so I'm
Yeah,
just curious.
thank you for that.
Mr. Jones?
Yes, Greg, thank you for applying. I think you do an outstanding job in Bayou Blue. I knew you back in the days when you served in a recreation district and all, and you're pretty much ground root for Bayou Blue. But brings up another concern. I wonder why both so interested in it. Now, just found out because you're going to be sitting next to him and you're going to protect him. You're the police.
I did have a couple of things. Mr. Otan, you may have to take over. I don't plan to be too long-winded, but sometimes I lose myself. I too went to Raceland Junior High and graduated from Central Lafourche, so we have that in common. Never law enforcement, but probably have pretended to be. Anyway, your resume has to be the longest resume I've ever seen in my life, and that's not relevant to what we're discussing here, but you have a long resume, and I appreciate all the information. Let me ask you, when I ran for my seat, there was A, B, and C that I saw were problems, well, more than A, B, and C. There were certain things that I saw was a problem. Now, right now, you have a vacant seat, and we have someone that may serve, it's very possible, unless there's an overturned conviction, that could possibly serve, 448 days to December 31st, 2019. It's a long time. So that would be the first thing I'd ask you is, are you willing to do that? And secondly, what is it that you think you want to change, fix, maintain? What is it that you can do for Bayou Blue?
Well, first of all, my commitment, it was evaluated before I applied. The commitment first went with my family, my wife, and my 2 grandchildren that I raised. If they were not in with this, then that partnership doesn't take place, I wouldn't be here. I'm a family man first and faith with that. The second thing is this, we're not being critical of any one of you here, but being a resident of Bayou Blue, being a resident of District 5, there are things that are quite concerning to me that never really made sense with me. I have had the pleasure of serving for boards on the recreation and understand that director's success is always by the direction of a board. Understanding that sometimes councilmen of our area had made decisions and didn't do their homework. One of the things that concerns us is the development of Bayou Blue is growing with massive neighborhoods. We are looking at areas that used to be pastures and great sugarcane that are now subdivisions, and drainage and flooding is a concern. One of the biggest criticisms in our area, which would be some of the things that we would look into, is the Canal Street Dam and the flooding within the Bayou Bend area and the new Cairo subdivision that is taking place, where the elevations of those homes are flooding elevations of homes in Bayou Bend. The other area is the pumping station that is concerns for us in our community in the Lake Long area, from the Gidry property where we used to have cattle to the development of Lake Long to where individuals are now dealing with the flooding of that and the pumping stations that may be needed to move the Hollywood Canal water into the Company Canal or into the intercoastal to help those areas. When we deal with the massive construction of the new schools in our system, we have now a new elementary school, Bayou Blue Elementary, Bayou Blue Middle School. We are now dealing with an influx of traffic and safety that is occurring on Highway 316. When we look at that, we look at how many entrances and driveways are we allowing onto that road for that congestion to be able just to have the basic things of business and commerce, which would be a concern of mine in those developments, which was, like the gentleman explained to you earlier, with planning and zoning that we maybe can address. The other thing is the fire protection. The water pressure in our area is relatively low. When it is low, because we are now extending our water services to these areas who are now a new development, and it is causing problems for our fire protection to be able to draw enough water pressure for there. See, these are just some of the issues that I see as a councilman, but it's because I'm a lifelong resident. It's because I've been on those streets as a deputy. I've been on those streets as an individual private citizen. And I've been in those streets for every major hurricane from Andrew to Ike to Katrina to Rita to Gustav, and I saw what water does. And for us, it's this. We in Bayou Blue, who lives on the Lafourche Parish line, needs to know that we have a voice in Lafourche Parish that will speak. Because too often that line that divides that ditch, which we allow Terrebonne to pump their water into, is actually our parish. And it's actually a canal that we depended on to have our water pump into. But that voice for the people that I live and I've been born and raised at, I promise each and every one of them, as a law enforcement officer and as a citizen and in this appointee for the short time that I would be here, which you may think is extensive, that I will let them know we are relevant. I will let them know that their voice will be heard. And I will let them know that Bayou Blue services will be the best that we can and what they can do, providing that it's a budget. One of my strengths is this. I come from the state government. In the last 10 years, 12 years, we have received in higher ed one of the strongest budget reductions, over 23% in a calendar year. My strength is this. We can do more with less. And when we do more with less, we become the actual practitioner of our profession. And that is what I will do for the district if I get this appointment in that time. That is what I offer for the individual who runs and gets that seat, that knowledge and that assistance. But it is something dear to me, and if anyone knows, I'm proud from being from Bayou Blue.
Mr. LaFont.
Yeah, one question, and that district is probably the geographically the most messed up district out of all our districts, because it borders Terrebonne Parish, the whole district. I just wanted to ask you, if you do get appointed, please don't forget about the poor people of Pointe-au-Tremble.
Look, it's funny you say that, and I didn't mean to cut you off.
Now, go ahead.
But from fishing to Pointe-au-Tremble, to riding on the Lafourche Parish side, to where a dear friend of mine, Mr. Cecil Neal, who's a vice president of operations for LaBeouf Brothers, just passed. It is a community that I'm sincere with. It is a community that feels exactly what you're saying. And it is a community that is the exact reason that we have the recreation park in Bayou Blue. Because without their vote, we would have not been able to pass the development of that. I feel it, I hear it. Mr. Grant has spoke to me when I was in law enforcement and when I'm pulling my boat up at the Fungies Marina at the end. But you are correct. But one of the interesting things is this. Whether it's District 5 or District 11, 1, 2, or 3, from Pointe-au-Tremble to the Ponderosa, coming up to Butch Hill and those areas, we border every one of your districts. We border it, and whatever problem you may have will fall within us, and whatever problem we have may overflow with us. That's why I think of the things that we need as simple as this. We need consistency, which I hope I can provide to you. We need to have a basis of agreements that what's good for my district might not be good for you, but we still represent the entire parish. And that's what we bring. But it is very interesting, because District 5 is along the Terrebonne, but it runs along most of your districts.
That's it. I just want to say, whoever gets elected, please, or appointed, please remember the people in Pointe-au-Tremble.
Now, I agree with you 100%.
Thank you.
Anyone else? Now, this is the first time we've ever done this. Anyone in the audience would like to ask a question? And I'll even give the administration a chance to ask a question if you're all interested in it. And I'm trying to get as much input as possible because 8 people get to decide who represents almost 11,000. It's been keeping me up at night. It's not how government's supposed to work. It's not how our democracy is supposed to work. So anyone that's here, at least, I want to give them a chance to ask a question. Okay, Mr. Giacuzzo, have a seat.
I just want to close. Thank you for the opportunity, for y'all taking your time to listen to me. I know it's lengthy meetings and it's busy, but like I said, if y'all need something, feel free to contact me. Y'all have a good night.
Okay, Ms. Carlene, Mr.
Larry Shrigley.
Larry Shrigley. Good evening, Mr. Shrigley.
My name is Lawrence Shrigley, Larry, 210 Mary Beth Avenue, Houma, Louisiana, Bayou Blue. I've been a resident of Bayou Blue since 1976, so my family was transplanted down here. As you can figure, Shrigley is not a Louisiana name. I'm proud to be part of Bayou Blue. My resume, as you've seen, is not as long as some other ones that may have been submitted. I'm kind of what you see is what you get. I'm a business owner, operator in Terrebonne Parish. The business originated out of the state, and when it was decided to move the business to a better location, we moved to 551 Willow Street, Raceland, Louisiana. We took a very small business that grew very, very rapidly, and when the opportunity presented itself, we chose South Louisiana and this particular area because of the personnel, the people that live here, the area, the customers that we had were surrounding this area as well. It made perfect sense. And I was the first one on board to come back to Louisiana. I was away from here for 2 years, moved back to the same street that I grew up on, went to school at Bayou Blue Elementary, went to East Thibodeau Junior High School and graduated from Thibodeau High School in 1986. I'm a proud parent of a sophomore at LSU, currently studying agriculture. I've raised him with the same values that were instilled in me when I came to Louisiana in 1976. It was Miss Rabisky in my 4th grade class that gave me the respect of others in South Louisiana, and the respect and admiration of people that isn't taught where I was originally born, but bred into me over the years I've spent here in South Louisiana. And I've carried on that tradition with my son. I married another, local girl, and we have purchased a house 20 years ago, same street that I grew up on, for no other reason than it's my neighborhood, it's my people. I share the same issues that, the former person came before me about drainage, being born or raised rather on the same street, same area. I've seen this over and over again. You drive down Bayou Blue Road after heavy rain, Terrebonne Parish, high and dry. Bayou Lafourche or Bayou Blues not being able to drain where it needs to drain. And, my street in general, you go to the back of my street, every heavy rain, there's water there. And this has been ongoing for years and years. We've asked, what can we do about that? Well, I'm here because I want to do something about that. There's other areas in Bayou Blue, the traffic concerns. We have new streets that are coming into Bayou Blue that have never been there before. The extension from Bayou Gardens Boulevard, it's a disaster. It's a traffic nightmare. It's 1 block away from the street I live on, and I'm terrified every day that I pull out of my street because there's no street signs, there's no street lights, there's no signals there. There's been numerous accidents. I was basically approached to this position and decided that, after discussions with my wife, this is something I'm really passionate about. I'm not a politician. I don't like hearing myself speak. I'm here because I think that there's something I can do for my community as well as your communities. It's not just a Bayou Blue issue. We're not all here because of our own districts. We're all here for the entire parish. I've seen and heard, things that have gone on in this council before and the parish government, and as far as I'm concerned, it's things in the past. It's time to move forward, and that's what I want to do. I'm very thankful for the opportunity to come here and speak to you today. Some of you I've met for the very first time. I look forward to working with every single one of you. Like I said, my resume is short, and what you see is what you get, and I welcome any questions you may have.
Gentlemen, any questions? Mr. Melvin.
Thank you for applying. We seem like a good applicant, and we need all we can get, and that's very good. How'd you hear about the position, just out of curiosity?
It was a Facebook post. Somebody mentioned there's a Bayou Blue upper lower Facebook page, and I heard about the position that was open. Obviously, I heard about, what else is going on in our parish government, and with the vacancy. And it was more or less just kind of a, maybe that's something I might be interested in. The more and more I thought about it, the more and more I talked to friends and family, they're like, yeah, go for it. It's something I feel very passionate about, because I feel that community service, whether it's jury duty, whether it's sitting on this board, whether, it's anything to do with providing something to your community, that's something I'm very interested in. I got pulled for jury duty for the very first time, in 20-something years in Lafourche Parish. For the very first time 2 years ago, I got pulled for jury duty, and there was no reason whatsoever that I wanted to get out of that. I was proud to serve on that jury. I learned more about the court systems in 1 week than I've ever have on Law and Order or any other TV show you can watch. So, I mean, I was proud to do that. And the same thing goes for, this council. I think that it's a very rare opportunity that somebody can kind of give back and, help the community.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Mr. Paraloo.
Yeah, I want to pose the same question, and thank you for your application, both of you. I mean, it's really important. I mean, as public servants, we value people that are willing to volunteer to serve the community, so thank y'all. Same question I asked Mr. Jacuzzo. Why the willingness to do an interim position as councilman and not hold out until running for the actual seat?
It's kind of the same answer he gave too. I mean, I have no desire to be in politics. I have no desire for a long-term position in government. There's certain issues, certain responsibilities I think I may have in order to get my voice out there, for my community, to fight for your communities as well. There's plenty of issues. Bayou Blue is not just the whole of Lafourche Parish. I know that. It's a very small sliver of the parish that borders Terrebonne Parish. And being from that area, I shop in Thibodaux. My wife and I go eat out in Thibodaux. We enjoy all of Lafourche Parish and everything it has to offer. And I just feel that this is my part. It's something I feel like I really want to do, but not for the rest of my life, not long term. I am a business owner. I have a lot of responsibilities. And it's just one more thing that, to add to my responsibilities that I think I'm capable of.
Anyone else? The only thing I'll say is, again, I'm just going to remind everyone that stands before us, 448 days, it's possible. I'm glad to hear that you enjoy the rest of the parish and that you eat out in Thibodaux. I ate at the balcony today in La Rose, and it's really good, so try that place as well. As far as your length of your resume, it's not quantity it's not quantity, it's quality. So I was kind of poking fun at Mr. Jacuzzo for his.
I wasn't when I said I don't like hearing myself speak. So.
And let me just ask, anyone in the audience has something to ask? Anyone in the audience? Anyone in the administration? Okay.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Okay, so the way we're going to do this is by the order in which your resumes were submitted. Ms. Carlene, which order, the three gentlemen that are here, and the other, what's his name again?
Mackey.
The two gentlemen that are here. So Mr. Mackey.
Mr. Jacuzzo, Mr. Shrigley.
Can you say it on your mic?
Hope so. Mr. Mackey, Mr. Jacuzzo, and Mr. Shrigley.
So that's the order in which they submitted.
Correct.
Okay. So if all of the council members, what we'll do is, and I would hope everyone would get a second just because I think everyone that applied deserves at least a vote. So what we'll do is, I'll get a motion to vote for or to nominate. Is that correct? To nominate Mr. Mackey first, since he's the first one that submitted. And then when we get a second, then we'll vote on him if he gets 5 votes. Oh, no, never mind. Oh, I just forgot the paper ballot. Wow. Okay, that's why I was confused. Okay.
Ms. Lucy.
Jeez. Mr. Paraloo, go ahead.
Yeah, before we do this, I just want to let you guys know that both of you seem like quality men, and both would probably it seems to me that you have the passion for the citizenry of District 5. So if you don't get in and as an interim councilman, please continue serving the community any way you can, because it's important. We need more citizens to step up to the plate. So I just wanted to preface the voting to state that both of you guys are very deserving, I believe, to sit in that chair.
Mr. Lafont.
Better what Mr. Corey says. whoever doesn't get voted on tonight, I would hope that they would run. I think they both qualified candidates. I think all three are qualified candidates. And so we'll be talking to you after if you don't. We probably want you to run.
And Mr. Carroll Mackey's resume was, it's unfortunate he happens to not be here, but his resume is part of the packet as well. So if every council member, we have paper ballots with each person's name. If everyone can fill it out and sign it and pass it down to me and Carlene. Okay. I can't read that signature. Jerry Lafont. No, I'm just saying I couldn't read it. Jerry Lafont, Craig Jacuso. Daniel Lorraine, Craig Jacuso. Corey Paraloo. Craig Jacuso. Jerry Jones. Thank you, Jerry. Craig Jacuso. Who's that? Ominote?
I don't know who that is. It's either Michael Grow or Mr. Nooney. That's Michael Grow. That one I didn't know.
This looks nothing like Michael Grow.
No, it doesn't.
That's what we have to do.
Sign and then print below.
Michael Grow, Craig Jacuso. That is 5 votes for Mr. Jacuso. Should I read the rest as well? Thank you, Bo. Aaron Bo Melvin, Craig Jacuso. Is this Ormond's? I guess he's the only. Ormond Otan, Craig Jacuso. And I voted for Craig Jacuso. Mr. Shrigley and Mr. Mackey. Thank you again. I hope you will both consider applying or running for the actual seat when it becomes available. Yes. And Mr. Jacuso, you will get with Carlene and she
Come see me tomorrow?
tomorrow, and she'll tell you what's next. Congratulations, and welcome aboard. Did you want to come up and say a couple of words? Do you know where Ms. Carlene's office is? Okay.
I just want to thank you. My district thanks you. We'll work hard for that. I promise you that we won't embarrass you, that we work with you in partnership, and that even when words are crossed or things are not, they know that the intentions of our actions is always for the betterment of our parish. And I appreciate this, and hopefully this shines light on the last 8 years of the inconsistency of District 5, that we can now work hard to recruit someone and work with them to represent where I live and will retire from. Thank each one of y'all.
Thank you, sir. All right. So do I have to move and second to appoint him?
Oh, we do have, yeah.
So, Resolution 27, there was 8 yeas for Mr. Jacuso. And so Mr. Jacuso is appointed now to District 5 council seat. Do I have to do all in favor? I don't have to do all in favor. Okay. Okay. She keeps saying viva voce. I'm a little lost on that. All right, 28, resolution engaging the firm of Stagney and Company LLC renewal option year to perform the Lafourche Parish Council's statutory required audit as of and for the year ending December 31st, 2018, not to exceed $62,900, and authorizing the parish president to sign any and all relevant documents. Can someone move for me? Moved by Otas, second by Grow. Yes, sure, Ms. Carleen.
Okay, this is on like we do every year. We need to appoint someone. We have, y'all did a renewal option year for every year of office, every year y'all are in office. However, if y'all vote not to do this, then y'all have to approve the next item, which is for me to advertise for requests for proposals. Okay, just wanted to make that clear before y'all vote nay on both, maybe or not.
Mr. Lorraine.
Yeah, I just want to ask a quick question. When we did advertise, the last time we advertised, did they have anybody that submitted except Stagney?
No, sir.
He was the only one, right?
We haven't for
'Cause
10
he's
years had anybody
He's
but
been doing it
Stagney.
for a while, and I think he's doing a fairly good job.
Yep.
Mr. Melvin.
Yes, last year, being a new council member, first term, since he's been doing it so long, I think it's okay, and if it's, not broken, don't fix it, but I know we have other folks in the parish. I just wanted to see if we wanted to give somebody else a shot. There's nobody applying, right?
No one else has applied since I'm working here. For 11 years now. So it's been
I wonder why.
just one.
Yeah, I mean.
Don't know.
Ooh.
Mr. Perilou.
How often has it been publicly announced, though? I mean, it sounds like we're arbitrarily just going to roll it over for them. How often is it announced for competition?
Depends on whether or not y'all renew it, like y'all did with this group this year. Y'all renewed it for your entire term. That was not always done. Sometimes it's every year.
Why can't we, I mean, I know they're more than qualified, they do a great job, but to be fair and balanced as far as the rest of the companies in the parish are concerned, I think it's only right to announce the bid again, open it for bid.
Let's hope someone else applies besides.
But they can't apply if you don't publish
Right,
it.
I agree. That's left up to y'all.
So if we vote 28 up, it just re-engages Stagney, but if we kill 28 and 29 gives us the option to re-announce it for all companies to,
Yes, sir.
I think it's only fair to do for business's sake and for transparency.
Mr. Grow.
I was just questioning the order of it. That was my concern, like why we didn't ask for a proposal and then deviate, or defer it. It has to be renewed right now. I mean, we have several meetings until,
But it's time. It's time because we advertise, but we have a month that they have to turn in to me. They have a whole month, whoever wants to. So, yeah, we have to have it in by December to the auditor.
Mr.
but we should
Lorraine.
still have time to get something advertised for a month if we
Oh, we do. We do.
would we want to, suppose though, would you be interested in deferring?
I don't think
28
it
for a couple
matters. I mean,
meetings?
if that gets voted down, then we definitely address the next one. I don't think it matters. I think
voting it down, for me, shows that I'm against them. I think they do a fine job. I just think anything of this magnitude, we should go out to bid. It's, let's just pull it just until we get everything, just do a formal bid versus acknowledging that we don't want to engage with them, because I think if they won, I'd be happy to have them back. To vote
what
them
about for the
down,
council members that are happy with Stagney? That would just.
Fine. I'm happy with them, and I would vote yes and not shoot it down, but I still think we should engage in a bid. That's
Okay.
what I'm saying.
Mr. Lorraine?
Yeah, the only problem I have is that he has his price right here, 62,000. So that, and I can tell you, since I've been sitting here, we didn't have many different auditors. We went with one out of the parish one time, and it wasn't any better, gentlemen.
His price is public record.
Right, that's what concerns me, is the price being public record, and also concerns me that somebody outside of Lafourche, I always think we should go with Lafourche Parish companies, Lafourche Parish employees, so that's concerning to me. Mr. Lafont, you had something?
So Stagney's his business is in Lafourche, he has an office here in Lafourche? I thought he was in Houma. They got an office in Houma. Their main office is in Houma. Oh. I was gonna make the suggestion, for what Mr. Gross said, was I was gonna make, to deviate from the agenda and do 28 first.
Hang on a second. Mr. Jones.
That's the same ideal. I'd like to see it go out for bid and give everybody a fair shot.
And the only reason why I won't support that is because it's not a fair shot, because this price is here. I think they're doing a fine job, and it's just, it won't be fair to them. And we could end up with a company outside of Lafourche Parish, or no one. So, Mr. Otan.
That was what I was gonna say, is, on two boards I served on, we went out and tried to find someone else, and it was impossible. There was pretty much no one else. And in one instance, I even was on a board where they had to remove themselves, and then we couldn't find anybody. So I can tell you, it's not as easy as it sounds. It's very challenging.
Okay, so somebody still wants to make a, Mr. Melvin?
Again, my whole thing is this. We're government, it's supposed to be very transparent. If you're using the same company for 10 years, they're doing a great job. It's just, number one, it's not giving somebody else a shot to look at our books as well and to see just a different set of eyes on it if we keep using the same one every year. I don't think it's good government to use the same one every year. And how it got to this is wrong, in my opinion.
They're the only ones that have applied.
But someone can come in $1 and see this
And I'm just
amount.
saying that in the future, we need to be sure we really apply and push, because I don't want it to seem like we go into this one company every year. And it's nothing personal against that company, it's just, again, we're government and we're just trying to be transparent. If they're the only ones, just roll with them, and, you know.
Mr. Grove?
That's all, it's not that it's easy, it's the right thing to do when you're dealing with this kind of funds. On the break, I spoke to the members of the library, you know, like they have an item coming up, one local company and one from New Jersey. I'm like, there's no other computer companies. They at least did the bid. They didn't just say, oh, got to give it to them. They're the only guys around here. We got to do what's right. I still don't want to vote no on this item. I just think one should have been before the other one.
Again, if under normal situations, I would say put it out to bid, but when their price is right here, we now flipped it to be not being fair to them. Yeah, I don't think someone could come in $1 below them, and that's just not, I don't think that's right.
They don't have to take the lowest bidder for this.
We don't have to take the lowest bidder. Mr. Lafont?
I move to deviate from the agenda to go to item number 29.
Can I get a second to deviate from the agenda? Second by Paraloo, moved by Lafont, second by Paraloo. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Nay. So who's the nays? That's me and Otan and Lorraine. 5 yeas and 3 nays, with the nays being Otan, Esposito, and Lorraine. And so we'll move to item number 29, resolution authorizing the council clerk to advertise for requests for proposals for an auditing firm to provide for an annual financial and compliance audit of the financial statement of the parish to include all funds and accounts and account groups representing the financial transaction of the parish and all departments and offices for the year ending December 31st, 2018. Can someone move on that for me? Moved by Jones, second by Paraloo. Mr. Lafont?
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah. Any further discussion? Being none, all in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Raise your hands, opposed. The ayes have it. Passes 5-3, with the nays being Lorraine, Esposito, and Otan. Mr. Lorraine?
I could understand where some of these guys are coming from, transparency, but my thinking, he's gonna be the only bidder. So then what you gonna do?
And what happens if he doesn't?
Mr. Otan.
All right, and I'm in agreement with Ms. Lorraine. The additional cost, Ms. Carlene's time, I think is unfortunate, but because once again, being involved in this for a long time, there's not gonna be anything else, but, and it also, it's a delayed, unfortunately delays, as Ms. Carlene has expressed. So, and I will say that also, talking about somebody that's been in there for 10 years, having an auditing firm that's very familiar with the questions that pop is very significant. That experience actually is just the flip. I get it on politicians for long periods of time, but for an auditing firm that's approved, I disagree on that.
And I agree with Councilman Otan. And Ms. Carlene said she wants to know our thoughts if we don't apply. Stagney, please apply. I don't really know what happens then. Mr. Melvin?
Yes, again, we're in the government positions, and I just think it's good to make sure that we give every person the opportunity, every company, to look at this. And again, for the public good, sometimes it's a different set of eyes. It's just about transparency. That's why I'm going for it. And if nobody else applies, I'm happy to go with the same company.
I think since y'all didn't actually pull or cause to fail 28, I would think they're still on the board as a renewal, which they wouldn't have to apply as per 29.
Well,
What do y'all think?
we deviated from the agenda. Say that on mic, Ms. Carlene. We deviated to 29, so I believe we have to deviate back to 28.
Y'all will, but I don't think y'all gonna intentionally have it fail, is what I'm saying. Y'all spoke about just deferring it possibly, right? So
Okay.
if you're deferring it, I would think that if stagnating them would not apply because of 29, they would still be on the table as a renewal option of 28.
Do you plan to
y'all
inform
agree with
them of that?
I'll have to, yes.
Okay.
Do y'all agree with that, though, that they don't need to reapply when I advertise?
I'd like to make a motion to go back to regular agenda.
Motion by LaFont to go to regular agenda, second by Jones. All in favor? LaFont, you have something else?
No?
Any opposed? Passes 8-0, one vacancy. All right, 28. Resolution engaging the firm of Stagney and Company LLC renewal option year to perform the Lafourche Parish Council statutory required audit as of and for the year ending December 31st, 2018, not to exceed $62,900, and authorizing the parish president sign any and all necessary documents. Can someone move for me? Moved by Otan, second by Lorraine. Now, what are we doing? Is someone going to, Mr. Otan, are you going to move to you're going to move to defer it till?
That's what I'm trying to look at.
Hang
So
on
my
a
question
second,
is, this is
Carlene.
not approving the contract, correct? It's just engaging them, or is
No,
that?
at this point, we're going to have to defer this, right, Ms. Carlene?
Okay.
I'm sorry, so are you
I will
moving to defer?
I will defer it beyond the date that it's advertised. 30 days, November, December, so December meeting?
Well,
I'm sorry about that, Ms. Corleen, but
I'm looking at today's date. It's gonna take 3 days to get it in. I would say let's, if we could maybe defer to November 27th, because if we get it in Friday's newspaper, which is the 12th, 30 days would be November 12th, but we would give them till 5 o'clock, so we wouldn't make the deadline for the November 13th meeting, so November 27th.
so defer to November 27th.
Okay, so Councilman Otan deferred to November 27th. Mr. Lorraine, you want to keep your second to that November 27th deferral date? Okay. All in favor? Any opposed? Passes 8-0-1, 8-0-0-1, vacancy. Number 30. Resolution reappointing one member on the Lafourche Parish Children and Youth Planning Board. Mr. Grow, who do you have?
Mr. James LaCousy.
Can I get a second on James LaCousy? Mr. Otan? All in favor? Any opposed? Passes 8-0-0-1, vacancy. Number 30. 31, thank you. Resolution reappointing one member on the Lafourche Parish Children and Youth Planning Board. Mr. Grow, who do you have?
Dr. Kimberly Reynolds.
Dr. Kimberly, anyone want to second Dr. Kimberly Reynolds? Councilman Paraloo? All in favor? Any opposed? Passes 8-0-0-1, vacancy. Number 32, resolution reappointing one member to the Lafourche Parish Tourist Commission. Mr. Otan, who do you have?
Mr. Jeremy Punch.
Mr. Jeremy Punch, can I get a second? Cora Paraloo? All in favor? Any opposed? Passes 8-0-0-1, vacancy. 33, resolution accepting the low bid of Onshore Construction LLC in the amount of $3,794,500 for the construction of the Lafourche Community Center, and authorizing the parish president to sign, execute, and administer administer an agreement in any and all relevant documents. Moved by Otan, second by Paraloo. Any discussion? Mr. Otan?
Yes, first off, I have a lot to say about this, but my understanding is once this contract is signed, they'll have 365 days or so to complete the job. So, reality, this thing started with me 21 years ago, trying to get a community center in the Central Lafourche area towards the southern side versus Raceland. Lifelong resident of Central Lafourche, other than my departure for the Marine Corps for a while. I've always longed to see this happen. I'm very thankful for both this administration, the last administration, the support that I had from this council, unanimously purchasing that property that we purchased. Wasn't my design from initially, wasn't my location from the initial or anything like that, but I am so pleased and so happy to see this project move forward. So I thank everyone that's been involved with it, and I'm so excited to see this move forward.
Any further discussion? Mr. Lafont?
Yeah, I'm glad y'all getting something in that community. However, I just have a question for the administration, and because I've never heard it, it's been asked before. If somebody can answer, if y'all calculated what the daily operating cost of that facility would be?
Mr. Jimmy?
And
Can't see
where
if your
would
light's
funds
on.
come to operate it?
No, I didn't calculate it, and where the funds will come.
Is your mic on, Mr. Jimmy?
I guess it is.
Okay.
No, I didn't calculate it, and I guess the funds that are operated will be from the community, working together like they do in the other centers they have, and it's a big effort on their part. I'm hoping that everybody participates because it's long overdue, and I think they really need it. So I just hope everybody looks forward to working there and help support it.
Yeah, and the reason I ask is, being involved with the Laurel Civic Center for many years, I know it takes about $1,400 a month, a day, to keep the $1,400 a day to keep that facility open. So if I can get the parish in the future, if something happens where the parish has to start paying fully for this facility to operate it, I would ask that the parish please consider supporting paying all the bills of the Laurel Civic Center and the Cut Off Youth Center also. And that would be my suggestion, and I would ask this council to do the same. And Nooney, I'm gonna vote for your project because of the fact, but I want y'all to realize that, and I'm not pulling a Daniel, but south there in the coastal, the parish doesn't own any recreation facilities whatsoever. And everything we have down there is done by volunteers and people helping out. The Civic Center and the Cut Off Youth Center both dependent on fairs, and if they don't have a good festival, they struggle every year. And when I come over here and ask for $15,000 or $20,000 to fix an air condition, it's like I have to knock down 15 brick walls to get it. So I just want you to know, Nooney, I'm going to vote for it, but I just find it kind of weird that nobody figured out the daily operating costs. And people in a good business sense, when they buy something or they purchase or they open a business, they look at the daily operating costs. Without that, you bound to fail. Because the recreation taxes cannot support that facility alone. And I know y'all do a good job. I've helped out with y'all festival, and I hope they continue to donate the money for that, and I'm sure y'all will, but it takes a lot of money to operate a big facility like that. So I just hope when I come back for money for, other facilities in the parish that doesn't get the funding, I would ask y'all support, but I will support it.
Mr. Lorraine.
Yeah, I guess I'll be a while. First of all, I'm not gonna get excited. It's probably something that's needed. But let me tell you something. It takes money to run facilities. This parish is not gonna have enough money to operate recreation in the next year, year and a half. You won't have it. And I'll tell you why. Bayou Blue had that extra tax, used to get $67,000 a year, that's finished. They're not getting that no more. Lockport used to get about $100,000 a year for 10 years. It's all 10 years. They're finished. They're not getting that no more. Racing is the only one that's gonna get something till 2024. They get $131,000 a year. Gaines gets $43,000 a year, finishes in December. One of the biggest mistake we ever made, and I was part of it, was to consolidate. We're losing all these taxes. And don't come ask me to raise a parish-wide recreation tax. And I'll tell you why. I got the figures right here. And this is interesting. From Thibodeau to the Intercoastal, we collect on the 1.5 mills, the people pay $524,000. That's what's collected. The 10th ward by itself pays $1,034,000. Now you see where I'm coming from? Now, we bought this property. Most of it is wetlands. You can build the building. You're never going to expand it. You're never going to grow. It won't work. The only thing that upsets me about this deal is the Parlor Rolls pump station called for 3 pumps. They put 2 pumps, and they took the money, 600, let me see, 700, 600. Wait, let me get my figures right here. Anyway, let me see, it was, $625,537.12. Took it from that pump station and transferred it to that community center. Number one, you're not supposed to transfer any money till the project's complete. I don't think it's ever been signed off on. That project's not complete. But yet that money was transferred. I'd like to know, and I'm gonna say a few other things. Corey Perilou, he's been waiting for 2 bathrooms or restrooms and racing, never got done. Jerry Jones got 2 lots that we bought last year. Nothing was never done. Corey Perilou has a rodeo, horses, cows, whatever, arena, waiting for some lights, never got done. Michael Grove, Thibodeau, $160,000 a year for 10 years, cooperative endeavor, expired. Never gonna get it back. Jerry LaFont, boat launch in La Rose. If I was the parish president, I wouldn't even have it open. That's how deplorable it is. DPW can do so much. They can't keep up with the drainage in the grass and boat launches and whatever. And Bo, I don't know what you got. Or maybe you didn't get nothing, I don't know. I'm just using that as an example. I'm gonna vote for it, Armin. I'm just bringing this out because you're gonna run out of money, gentlemen. You are gonna run out of money. You cannot address all these problems I just said and fix this thing and have money left. It's not gonna happen. It's not gonna happen. And I want to know one question before I shut up. I want to know how much of this was a grant and how much of this is not a grant. And Jimmy, you could answer it,
Mr.
since
Jimmy?
you know everything.
Mr. Jimmy?
I'm gonna have Jack come up and answer it, so we can get some accurate.
I want to know what's the grant, and I want to know what was put up. Because I had a project that money was taken from and transferred to that, and it wasn't finished.
The total
Please
project.
state your name and address for the record
Sorry,
again, please.
Jack Plaisance with Piciola and Associates, 115 Piciola Parkway. CDBG federal grant funding for this project, and it's a tiny number, text-wise, $3,384,639. You also have CDBG Katrina Rita funding in the amount of $233,861, and the local commitment, which I think went back to 2013, is $1.5 million. That totals out to $5,118,501.37. That's the current budget for the project.
And then you got 3 million of construction,
Construction
and then you almost got 3 million of engineering?
No, sir. The total construction cost is about 3.8, 3.7, 3.8. That was earlier on the agenda. Let's see. 3.8. We had a land acquisition cost of about $360,000. Administrative and engineering costs make up the rest of the 5.1 or so million dollars.
Right.
I'd like to address.
Now, let me ask you a question. Is this going to be just a shell? Because I could remember when we first started this, it was supposed to be on 308. It was supposed to be the Pixie Go, named after Pixie Go. All this got turned around and it went to something else. It was supposed to be built in the town. Now we're out of town. We're in wetlands. We're fighting wetlands in Choctaw and wherever. And you're going to have some problems here eventually. You're not even going to build a baseball field on that. I can tell you right now, it's not going to happen. Unless you got plenty money. So what's going to be built? Just a shell?
No, it's a fully functioning gymnasium, office space, concrete parking, exterior lighting, wood, gymnasium floors, basketball goals, volleyball accessories, office space furnished for, I think there's 4 offices. The kitchen equipment is not in this budget, but it would have countertops and features to accept the actual movable kitchen items like refrigerators, ovens, those kind of things.
So, and another concern I have is basically paying the insurance on a monthly basis, paying the light bill on a monthly basis, while all these other buildings got to pay their own. I mean, the Rural Civic Center is an evacuation thing for the parish. That's number one before we go up the bar. That's always been number one. And we don't pay their insurance. We don't pay their light bill. Same thing with the Cutoff Youth Center. Them doors are pretty close to being shut. Pretty close. We don't pay their light bill. We're giving them $30,000 tonight. 2 sets of $30,000. $30,000 is far from $3 to $5 million. And I gave you the breakdown of where it comes from. So,
are you asking me about
No, I don't want to get you involved. You're just doing your engineer thing, and
right.
And I didn't want to get excited. I just got a little upset on a couple of ways some of that money filtered into that, because I can tell you, Jimmy Cantrell will never finish these projects in the next year. They won't even start. And I always heard Nudie say one thing, let's take care of what we have out there before we enlarge. Right? You know, and I'm going to vote for, I'm just making my point, because I think it's a big expense. I think it's something that can't be expanded. I think we caught with wetlands, but yet we're going to have a center. And then the rural civic center going to have to pay their own, and the cutoff youth center is going to have to pay their own. And then when these taxes run out, well, 3 of them's out by the end of the year. How can the parish pick up all that? And Jimmy, don't come ask me to raise a tax for recreation. It ain't going to happen.
Mr. Perry.
And I'm done.
All right. Thank you for the great segue, Daniel. I've already received a DA's opinion on the whole consolidated recreation situation that we mistakenly, unanimously passed. Because what we did was all those communities that Daniel listed that are losing those local millages is because we consolidated all the recreation districts without thinking that we're hurting them instead of helping them. This utopian idea was floated, and this was like our first few months in office, this term. This utopian idea was floated that, hey, we're going to consolidate recreation and everybody's going to be on equal footing. Yeah, equal broke footing. That's what we're on right now. That's the course. So I've received a DA's opinion because I think when I started floating the idea that we need to rescind the ordinance that created this unified recreation district, and there was some discussion from fellow council members that said, oh, wait, legally, maybe we can't do that because the millages are gone and this and that. Well, I received a DA's opinion that we can indeed correct that mistake. And that's what it was. It was a mistake. So at our next meeting, I'm going to go ahead and present that to Ms. Carleen to put on the agenda to rescind the ordinance that created the parish-wide recreation district. And the DA's opinion also stated that the local communities that have lost or are in the process of losing those millages can go back to the community and renew them as approved by the local residents. So, look, as public servants, you know what? We make decisions all the time. Every time we meet, we make decisions, we vote. We need to be accountable and admit when we make a mistake. I'm the first one standing up right here saying I made a mistake by voting to consolidate recreation. So I'm the first one to get in line to say that was a mistake and we need to rescind that ordinance and put the power back to the people in the local recreation districts. And yes, I'm voting for the Lockport Recreation Center.
Mr. Melvin.
Thank you, Corey. That was very good, and I'll support that 100% because we were so new. I think we were duped into some things due to some other political matters. But that being said, just a review. I have a project. It was started in 2011 as a $5 million project. There was $400,000 in engineering fees. The project was redesigned in this administration, and another $400,000 to redesign. We're finally getting on with it, which is great. I'm happy we're moving on. Cyprian Pump had $3.5 million when we were elected already in the fund. It was redesigned to be a rehab instead of a full rebuild at $1 million instead of 3.5. Then that was more engineering fees wasted on a redesign, and now the pumps are sitting on the levee. So I'm hoping we can have those in line. It's going to be another year. What I'm trying to say is simple. We've had $3.5 million. And it won't be done before we might not be out of office. And the pumps are sitting on a levee. Is that progress when you got the money and the pumps are sitting on a levee? I don't think so, in my opinion. Lastly, I'm a little troubled about the project for Lockport, even though I wish everybody could have a rec center, okay? I heard several council members say, yeah, I'll support it. We don't have the money, I'm going to support it. Well, that's like building a restaurant, you can't cook the food. I don't get it. I mean, yeah, I want to support this. I do want to support it. But what I'm hearing is maybe some issues with operating it. And just like with the Bayou Blue Water Park, you know, there's some serious issues going on with the water bill and some other things over there. I think water parks are great. I wish we'd have a water slide in my front yard, okay? All I'm saying is we have to be fiscally responsible with public money and know that if we're gonna put something up, that we can see it through. Because I just named several projects that were majorly redesigned, some of them for no reason, and the pump's sitting on the levee, and here we are looking to do another project when, like Mr. Lorraine says, money was taken from a pump station. I just have problems with that.
Mr. Lorraine?
Yeah, I just want to say that I did say that it was a mistake, and I was part of it. But I can't understand how Corey could go get an opinion when it never came to this council. Usually when you don't come to the council, you can't get an opinion with the DA unless the council approves it. Am I right, Jerry?
It did come to the council. It's been a long time, though. It's a long
It
time.
needs to be rescinded, but also you're probably going to have to start the process all over again. And I'm going to tell you the truth. I voted for Raceland. Bayou Blue was always in, even 35 years ago. I voted for Lockport. I voted for all of them to consolidate. You know what they did to me when it came to consolidate in South? They voted against me. I lost 5-4, and I needed 6.
What year was that, 32?
That was when, maybe I shouldn't mention no name. That was when, well, in fact, Lindell and Phillip voted against me. And that's when Brent Cully and Mark Assenhoff and all was here. But I needed 6, and they wouldn't even let me put it on the ballot. But I think it needs to be revisited, go back, and I think since it looked like them district tax worked on that, I think that's what we need to do on all the districts and let the people make the decision, you know. But getting back to Bull, I think the warranty is going to expire just by sitting on the levee. That's road sales tax aid, the money for Bull. Bull's area, I guess. That's not CDBG. That's road sales tax aid, and it's been there a long time. And that pump station should have been built by now, long time. Of course, there's an election year next year. Maybe we're gonna see it go up.
Nooney, you had something else because I do have something to add.
Go ahead, I'd like to close it.
I guess I'm of the same thoughts that the other council members are having. A while back, you all had, and James Barnes had brought up buying some equipment or spending some money to buy some equipment so we could do certain demolishing work on our own, and instead of hiring contractors. And the one thing I asked is, did we ever do a cost-benefit analysis? And it wasn't done. And I told you at that time I would never vote on anything that the cost wasn't analyzed, that there was, and this isn't, I'm not asking for Barnes to come up with something now, but again, Mr. Jimmy, if you ran on anything, it was that you were a shrewd businessman. And I can promise you, I'd be willing to bet that you wouldn't spend over $5 million of your own money without seeing what operating costs would be. And when Bo brought up the water park, Mr. Bagala, what did the cost of water go from and to on the water park? You got a ballpark number for me?
When I was looking at I look at each individual rec district and the costs periodically. And around May, I want to say that the Bayou Blue rec district had 3 water meters. It stayed within like under $100.
Right.
And then one of the water meters spiked to $4,500 or $4,800.
Right, to close to $5,000.
And then the next month it was like a double bill, so it looked like it doubled, but it was really like it was like 2 bills in one. And then the last bill fell in line around the same thing. They're all averaging, somewhere between $4,500 and $4,600.
Right, and when you asked Mr. Jimmy, you said there was a busted pipe or something that should have been fixed. Now, if that busted pipe is continuing, that's concerning in itself. But the other thing I want to mention regarding recreation is this year, you cut off the city of Thibodaux, and you said, the people that lived outside had to pay extra. People in my district now, to participate in city of Thibodaux projects, have to pay extra because you no longer refund the city of Thibodaux the money that they had been getting refunded all along. So the city of Thibodaux had to make the decision to increase their fees. North Thibodeau residents have no recreation opportunities other than City of Thibodeau. So we couldn't afford to give City of Thibodeau what it was, about 130,000, Mr. Jones and Grow, but yet you can, without a cost analysis, an operating cost analysis, you can go ahead and sign off on 5 million. So that's concerning to me. That's concerning to me. I don't know, that's not the actions of shrewd business, and,
Miss Lucy,
yes, sir.
I didn't sign off on the 5 million. Y'all gave the money, y'all did the deal. I would have no part of that. I'm trying to make it work. But a lot of things, I cannot put anything up. Y'all do it as a
Okay, but
council
what I'm
does it.
asking you is whenever you, this is Armin OTEF for the administration. So what I'm asking you is whenever you give us information, you don't do a cost analysis on a $5+ million project. I think that should be done. We got stuck with a water park that is either has major inefficiencies or poor design or.
Well, why didn't y'all do it before y'all allocated the money? The council allocates the money.
We can't, the council is, or legislators, we can't do a cost analysis, Mr. Jimmy. We can't do a cost analysis.
No, but you can allocate money and you don't do a cost analysis. It's y'all that allocates the money, not me. I just try to make it work. And a lot of times I
Right,
would
well,
not do
making it
things.
work would also include.
And I had nothing to do with the consolidation of recreation, by the way. Nothing at all to do with it.
Wait, hey, hang on a minute. You met with us and you were back that fully and begged us to it.
I think we're getting off subject. This
No.
is construction. Right now I have the floor, Lucy. I don't want you to start getting bickering back and forth on something totally off subject. We've talked about costs for Bio Blue. We've talked about, can we keep it focused on the construction of this community center? Just keep the dialogue, if you don't mind, directed towards that. Thank you. So.
That is,
Mr. Jimmy,
it is
you want-
related.
So do you want to continue to comment, Lucy? You have any questions further for Mr. Jimmy?
No, I don't. Are you done? Okay.
Can I get the
I'll take-
last word, Ms. Lucy?
Go ahead, Mr.
Thank you. Listen, first off, I want to thank all of your comments, and I agree with most of what y'all have said. I will go back to, 2012, maybe 2013. I was sitting in the audience, and I remember these exact same questions from both Jerry and Daniel, and thinking, my God, we'll never have a community center, because I remember y'all, what Dad said, that should be moved to 90. I don't know if y'all remember all those discussions. Haven't been involved with it for 21 years. So we have run those cost analysis personally, and I have those numbers. I know it's the 9th hour. If anyone had approached me before this, I could have showed you what those numbers were. So there's been a lot of dialogue with the previous administration, with the engineers. This has changed locations many times. So, we're way down the road. But I do want to just once again end with thanking y'all for y'all support on this, because, man, it's been a long time coming. And I also point out two things. A couple of things where I'm really looking forward to this is the same as the building that's in Raceland's area, is as a fire chief, when things go south, literally south, and National Guard moves in, many times they've taken my fire station off, which impedes, obviously, our efforts in the local area. Now it would be nice that there may be another center. Large community gatherings, town hall meetings. I don't know if you've been to Lockport Town Hall, but it's not very big, so we generally try to use our fire station. We use the parking lot at the church for commodity distribution. So I'm looking at this thing from so many different areas than just the basketball gymnasium that Jack mentioned, et cetera. And another thing I just wanted to point out too, I know it's 30 some odd acres. 9 of those were designated as wetlands, and it's already pasture land, so grass cut low, et cetera. So playing ball on it, whether it's soccer, et cetera, will be no problem. We just, as far as when it comes to construction of buildings, is when we would have issues. So once again, I thank all of you guys for the support, unanimously purchasing this property, and hopefully we can move forward with this project. I can look forward to breaking ground.
You said you had operating cost on it, Noonie?
It's been worked on over and over and over. I went
And
to
you don't
Nichols,
remember
I will tell you
ballpark
this,
numbers?
I'm
Do you
sorry?
remember ballpark numbers?
Not
No?
here. I've got a stack of papers and designs. I met at Nichols, I don't know how many times, with Crawfish Aquatics to have them come and run it in their programs and how they make it. That's a private company that actually runs Nichols. I met at Nichols several times with them on this. So yeah, there's been a lot of effort on trying to figure out how you make this thing work. Absolutely.
Mr. Melvin?
Mr. Oten, I had some relatives that live in Lockport, and the question I was getting, and this is, ongoing, but was it the price of property that y'all bought in that place on highway off of 308 instead of like by the Rouses on 1, which is on the Lockport side? I mean, some people are like, why they been across the bayou?
Can I answer that, Ms. Lucy?
Sure.
So 21 years ago, the thought was to try what you're referring to as a Lacoca property. This is pre-Rouses. And what happened is, and they may remember those discussions, because it came, at one point in time, it was discussed here in council chambers, and the property was appraised. And I think what ended up happening is the property owner said they would take double their appraised value. And legally, for some reason, they couldn't do it without some kind of exceptions. That was the Rouse's property. Then a small group formed in the town of Lockport, I think it was Lockport Rotary Club. They came across the bayou to McLeod Plantation in order to try to see if they could get property there. The landowner at that time would only give very, very low-lying property, which wouldn't have been conducive to moving this project forward. Then, luckily, this project was applied for CBDG. A couple of other, and it was 4 down on the list initially. Other projects got deferred. One of them, a big one, was in the Zalmans. I don't remember the name of it. So basically, the project got funded. This was during the previous administration. Then negotiations really heated up on where could we buy property. McLeod, we looked at the town of Lockport, purchasing the church's property. Essentially, the only property available is the one that we have now.
And you won't need a pump station, right? In a low-lying wetland, you won't need a pump station?
I will tell you this, anything south of here needs pump stations. There's not enough drainage anywhere. Right now, my boat launch is underwater, Grand Isle, Fouchon Road is underwater. So, and that's regardless, I think that was some talk, Jerry talked earlier about drainage. Drainage is working good. Doesn't work good when the water's coming up right now where we're at. I can tell you that water's up right now if you've been down there. So yeah, pump stations are needed everywhere. Absolutely.
So you're saying you'll need a pump station probably for this?
There's one right next to it, right down the road. There's actually a pump station right down the road, and actually this property doesn't flood. It's pasture land. It's designated as wetlands because of the type of grass that grows there, the type of soil that's there. It's not because it's wet. And the irony in that, I'll point this out, the irony in that is, if you try to make it wet now and you dig it down so ducks and stuff can land in there to make it truly wet, you would be affecting wetlands and you're gonna get fined, as crazy as that sounds. So to convert it back to true wetlands is illegal as per the Corps of Engineers when we met out there and talked about it.
Okay, before we vote, the only thing I want to add is the council can allocate money, put money aside for any project. The parish president doesn't have to spend it. And we have projects that sit there undone with money in the budget for them because the parish president has decided not to do them. So the fact that this project could have been another one that he chose not to do, and it wasn't, but just wanted to bring that up. The parish president has ultimate control on what gets done and what doesn't get done. That's right, Mr. Lorraine? Okay, any more discussion? Let's move it to a vote. All in favor? Any opposed? Passes. 7 yeas, 1 nay, being Melvin, 0 absent, and 1 vacant.
Council Chairman, I see Mr. Cantrell keeps talking. I don't know if he needs to say something he don't have his light, but I don't know.
Mr. Cantrell, you have something?
No, I don't have anything. I just find some things humorous.
Wonderful. 34, resolution ratifying the reappointment of Mr. Glenn Chance to represent the Nicholls State University Alumni Association on the Lafourche Parish Civil Service Board. Moved by Michael Groh, second by Lorraine. Any discussion? Being none, all in favor? Any opposed? Passes 8-0-0-1. Vacancy. 35, resolution approving a cooperative endeavor agreement between Lafourche Parish Government and the Bayou Civic Club to reimburse funding for a new pool pump at the LaRoe Civic Center, and authorizing the parish president to sign, execute, and administer said agreement and any and all relevant documents. Moved by LaFont, second by Paraloo. Any discussion?
Yeah, I got some.
Go ahead.
I just want to thank y'all. I hope y'all vote for this. I just want to remind the people that this is also the organization that supports themselves, but not only they support themselves, they donated the land to the library where the library in LaRoe sits, just donated it. So please remember that when I ask for money. Thank you.
Can I amend it for more? No, I'm just saying.
All right, any further discussion? Being none, all in favor? Any opposed? Passes 8-0-0, vacancy. 36, resolution approving a cooperative endeavor agreement between Lafourche Parish Government and the Cutoff Youth Center to reimburse funding for repairs to the cement and slab at the Cutoff Youth Center, and authorizing the parish president to sign, execute, and administer said agreement and any and all relevant documents. Moved by LaFont, second by Paraloo. Any discussion? Being none, all in favor? Any opposed? Passes 8-0-0, vacancy. 37, resolution stating the Lafourche Parish Council's endorsement of Bollinger Fouchon LLC located at 236 Adam Ted Gisclair Road, Golden Meadow, Louisiana, 70357, project ID 20161-801-ITE, to participate in the benefits of Louisiana Industrial Tax Exemption Program, and authorizing the parish president to sign, execute, and administer any and all relevant documents. Moved by Lorraine, second by Paraloo. Any discussion? Ms. Lorraine?
Yeah, that's just, we got Craig Roussel in the audience. Since he's been waiting this long, it's just, we generally do this to all the companies that's been doing business in Lafourche. Every now and then you get a new one that jumps in. It's just a tax break. Not a big tax break, but it is a tax break, right? Yeah, come explain it real quick, right? Used to work for the parish at one time, huh?
Please just state your name and address for the record, please.
Long time ago. My name is Craig Roussel, 143 Lake Howard Avenue, Thibodaux, Louisiana. I'm the Executive Vice President and CEO of Bollinger Shipyards. The state used to approve these in a state board, but they recently changed the rules that now allow local vote on it. So the sheriff has to approve it, school board has to approve it, and the parish council has to approve it. We've gotten the sheriff's approval, and we're working with the school board on theirs. I'd be more than happy to answer if anyone has questions on the project specifics or anything.
Any further discussion?
We appreciate y'all consideration.
Okay. Being none, all in favor? Any opposed? Passes 8-0-0, vacancy. 38, resolution accepting a low bid of Beverly Construction Company, LLC, in the amount of $920,014 for the project titled Lafourche Parish Airport Access Corridor, and authorizing the parish president to sign, execute, and administer an agreement and any and all relevant documents. Moved by Lorraine, second by Paraloo. Any discussion? Being none, all in favor? Any opposed? Passes 8-0-0, vacancy. 39, resolution accepting a low quote of Complete Network Management, Inc. in the amount of $26,970 for the purchase of computer equipment for the Lafourche Parish Library Multi-Branch Project 18058, and authorizing the parish president to sign, execute, and administer any and all relevant documents. Moved by Lorraine, second by Paraloo. Any discussion? Poor library people still waiting. All in favor? Any opposed? Passes 8-0-0. Again, library folks, thank you for doing such a great job and being good stewards of the taxpayer dollars. With one vacancy. 40, resolution approving the parish president's appointment of Connie Dewey for the position of Director of Finance for Lafourche Parish Government, authorizing the parish president to sign, execute, and administer any and all relevant documents. Moved by Gross, second by Otan. Any discussion? Mr. Lorraine, your light's not on. Go ahead.
You coming to the mic or what? Yes, sir. You're not getting away with it. I'm just going to ask you two quick questions to be fair. You've been working for the parish about 41 years, way before I got here.
Hang on a second. Can you please state your name and address for the record again, please?
Connie Dewey, 104 Juniper Street, Thibodaux, Louisiana, 70301.
So you've been working, how long have you been in finance?
I have been in finance for 18 and a half years.
You got to speak in the mic, please.
Oh, I'm sorry.
18 and a half years? I know you had different positions throughout your career, I guess I should say.
Yes, sir.
And did you were able to work on this budget?
Yes, sir. It was me and Mr. Carroll that completed the budget for 2019.
Was there anybody else involved? With you and Carol and anybody else?
No, well, we had some input from the administration as to different projects that they wanted. Yes, sir.
Anybody in particular?
The administration, Mr. Cantrell.
Was Mr. Lassane involved with the budget?
No, sir.
He wasn't.
Not all, he did have input in some of it, but he wasn't 100%. No, sir.
Okay. Answered my questions, and they wasn't very hard.
Thank you.
Mr. LaFont?
So if you take this position and we vote you in, you're not going to be a civil service employee anymore, right?
No, sir. I took a leave of absence from my civil service position to accept this position.
So you take a leave of absence, how long the leave of absence good for?
Till December 31st, 2019.
Gotcha. Okay, and so I just want you to let you know, I'm going to vote for you.
I appreciate it.
I think you've been there a long time, but I don't believe that somebody that's not controlling that. I do believe that previous, whatever you call it, interim parish administrator controls that office, so good luck to you.
Thank you so much.
Just, I would ask you just to be honest to the people.
I sure
Thank you.
will. Thank you.
Mr. Melvin?
Yes, ma'am. In an appointed position, I know we extended it, or at least should I say, civil service extended it to the end of this term, end of this current term. It's usually 4 years, but I mean, it's end of the term.
Yes, sir.
So, I mean, I always ask, just based on the history of, I've seen a lot of people come and go since I've been here, just 4 years, I've seen a lot of people come and go.
Correct.
A lot of people shifted around. What's your plan B?
My plan B is
Like if you're fired.
What's that, sir?
Like if you're fired, what's your plan B?
I plan on getting back to my position
Okay,
that I
I'm just
am
making
in.
sure you got a plan B. Just, I mean, it's a realistic question based on some of the things we've seen. Just wanna make
I have
sure you-
no intentions of resigning, but in the
Okay.
event that I should lose the position, I would go back to my old position.
Okay, thank you.
Anyone else? Mr. Jones?
Yeah, Connie, we've been knowing each other for a long time. In school, you know, and I know you've always been a shooter from the hip. With this administration, you can't shoot from the hip. You always get shot in the back. Connie, I hope you keep your nose clean
I will, sir.
and do your job, do the best you can.
Yes, sir.
Because you remember, this president always going to say, I want you to do it, but I want my hands clean. So, Connie, to remain friends, do what you've been doing in the past, okay?
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I have just a few questions. Mr. Otan, you may want to take over the meeting. How long have you been a Lafourche Parish resident? I know there aren't residency
Resident?
requirements like there are for parish administrator, but how long have you been a Lafourche Parish resident?
I am 61 years old.
Okay, wonderful. And I looked at your resume, and it seems like your experience seems to prepare you for it, so you're qualified.
Thank you.
And I also asked about you, and I hear that your character is above reproach. So we have the trifecta before us, and I think you've been around long enough that you know what you're getting into.
Yes, ma'am.
If you are appointed tonight, I hope you're careful, and I hope you remain who you are tonight standing before us. And I just want to say this is a qualified candidate, and I plan to support you.
Mr. Chairman, Mr. Cantrell got something you want to say?
Mr. Cantrell? Wait a second. We have Mr. Otan.
Are you complete?
Oh, shoot. Yeah, sorry,
Okay.
I forget I'm not. Yeah, go ahead,
I
Noonie.
don't know if you want any more dialogue. I'll turn
No,
it
I was
back over to
done.
you.
You can go ahead.
Oh, go ahead. I'll turn it back over to you, Lucy.
Okay, sorry, I forget. Mr. Cantrell, you had something? I can't see a light. Is his light on? No, he doesn't. You didn't? No, you don't want to defend your appointment or speak up for her in any way?
I'll speak up for her. I think she'll do an excellent job. She's been here for 41 years, and she's beyond reproach for honesty and everything else. So I really think she'll do a great job. That's why I put her up.
Thank you.
Wow. Anyone else? No further discussion. Being none, all in favor? Any opposed? Passes 8-0-0-1.
Thank y'all.
Welcome, Connie.
Thank y'all so much.
And congratulations, Mr. Cantrell. Thank you for nominating a qualified individual of good character and of Lafourche, a long-term resident of Lafourche. We all appreciate that. Okay. 41, resolution stating the Lafourche Parish Council endorsement of Bollinger Shipyard Lockport LLC located at 8364 Highway 308 South, Lockport, Louisiana 70374, project ID 2016-1805-ITE, to participate in the benefits of the Louisiana Industrial Tax Exemption Program, and authorizing the parish president to sign, execute, and administer any and all relevant documents. Moved by OTAN, second by Paraloo. Any discussion? Same thing, Craig? Okay. Okay. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Passes 8-0-0-1. Parallel. Passes 8-0-0-1. Vacancy. Thank you, Craig, for coming out. 42, resolution approving an agreement between the Governor's Office of Homeland Security and Emergency Preparedness and Lafourche Parish Government in the amount of $1,040,209.96 to elevate 7 properties located in Lafourche Parish, and authorizing the parish president to sign, execute, and administer said agreement and any and all relevant documents. Moved by Lorraine, second by Paraloo. Any discussion? Being none, all in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Passes 8-0-0-1. Vacancy. K, parish president, department heads, directors, or manager reports, presentation, and/or updates. 43, a representative from the Department of Public Works to present 1 monthly report as per ordinance 6036. Mr. Barnes, thank you.
Yes, ma'am. This is going to be a kind of a little update on some of the pump stations and in-house projects to show you what DPW does with some of the personnel.
Hey, Miss Carleen, let the record show that Miss Councilwoman Sposito walked out at 8:26, please.
And Armin took over.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I got it. I got it now. Thank you. Where, Mr. James?
Trying to get it rolling.
You got 2 minutes.
Can y'all hear him?
Negative.
Yes. All right, down to a minute and a half now. Okay, this is in District 1 and 2. The Layton Pump Station. And this might seem like a small item if you don't know what I'm talking about. The LPG employees installed new fuel lines. The Layton Pump Station is laid out over a massive area.
Mr. James, can you speak in the mic? We can't hear you good on this side, please.
Okay. Can you hear me now? Let me try this.
I can read the slideshows if you want.
You did do it?
I'll try my best to read off the page here.
Yeah.
Mr. Otan?
Yeah, you want me to read off the slides?
No, if you could, maybe if he moves up to the empty chair right there, and he can see it better, and we can hear him, and the public can hear him also.
You agreeable with that, Mr. James?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Mr. James, I'm talking about the one in the front here.
It may be good there. Let him try that.
Louder.
Let's try that, Mac, James. Let's see how it goes.
Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Yes.
Like I say, this is in District 1 and 2 on the Layton Pump Station. People would also think, when they just see the small words, install new fuel lines. These fuel lines, this pump station is laid out over a massive area, and these fuel lines was underground. It developed a leak in 2015. We finished up the project in 2016. This was a massive undertaking for DPW to get this accomplished with the help of OEP. Also on the station pump number 2, we completely rebuilt the pump. This has all happened before Miss Marie come on, so my record keeping and wasn't that good at the time. Pulled out a pump and completely rebuilt it. On station number 7, the gearbox was replaced and the injector pump replaced. 2017 in-house pump projects, District 1 and 2. Layton Pump Station, problems with the gates on the pump 4, pump 5. Only 4 bolts holding each one of them on. I know Mr. Jones knows about Layton Pump Station. These here is flap gates on the discharge pipe. If these gates would have come off, Thibodeau would have flooded. You see what kind of a box we had to build to just set down in the water, and the machinery that it took just to get down, get the box in there to where the people could work safely. This was a massive undertaking to get this done in-house until the Layton pump project gets on its way. Then on Layton pump number 1, we rebuilt the pump, pulled it out and rebuilt it in-house and put it back in. Layton pump number 7, we had to pull the gearbox and everything out to replace the stub shaft in the pump.
Mr. James, 1 second. I just want to acknowledge that our chairperson has walked back in at 8:31, and she resumes operation of the gavel.
Okay, you're gonna get to see the pump when it first come out, laying on the ground. The picture on your right is after it got completely rebuilt in-house, and a bottom heavy-duty screen put on to protect the propeller. We got quotes on the parts. All the work was done in-house. Some of the 2018 current projects, Districts 1 and 2, Layton Pump Station, addition 48 pump, replacing existing failing wooden bulkhead, replace the old wooden trash screen with a new automatic rake system, elevate the existing access road, and retrofit the existing structure, elevating existing pumps, improvements of the drainage system within Winder Road subdivision, and improvements to the existing outfall ditch from the Winder Road to the main drainage outfall canal. The Planis Engineering Group, funded by the HMG grant project, currently working on additional information that was requested for the grant application. They actually asked them to do a 100-year flood model before they'll release the rest of the money for this pump station. A 100-year flood model. (2016) pump station projects. Midway pump station. We rebuilt the pump. Movant number 1, the manufacturer and the LPG employees. The pump was rebuilt and added to make it 2 foot longer. It was not enough submergence level. The Zalman's pump station. Replaced electric motor. Maybe a lot of y'all don't understand when we had to pull a big electric motor like this on a pump station. we take it to a vendor, they tear it down, they give us a quote. Then once they give us a quote, we have to go load all these parts up, take them to another vendor, and get another price. Then we gotta go back and load the parts up again, and go get another price. So it's about a 30, 45 day process. Mike B's pump station, LPG mechanics department had bad cylinder heads, parts was purchased, the engine was rebuilt by the mechanics. Chack Bay Electric, the LPG welders repaired the discharge pipe. Sugar Ridge East pump station, the LPG employees installed a larger intake pipe. Sugar Ridge East pump station, we had to rebuild the pump. Another Sugar Ridge, it's on the west, that must be on the west side. Both hydraulic motors was rebuilt. That means when you gotta rebuild a hydraulic motor, that means you gotta pull the whole pump out, tear it down, completely rebuild the bottom end of the pump. It's a hydraulic motor in the bottom. So that's a massive undertaking. The Lewis tractor pump, please remember this one. Pump, we rebuilt the pump. Remy tractor pump, we rebuilt the pump. LaRousse pump station, LPG employees replaced the head on the engines. Bayou Buff school pump, we had to replace the entire breaker panel for it. 2017 completed projects in-house. Little Owl pump station, District 2, the gearbox was changed, pump was rebuilt, changed the fuel tank from a 500 gallon to a 1,000 gallon tank. Move on hydraulic pumps. No repairs was needed so far in the year of 2017, but the year in 2016, it was a tremendous amount of mechanical issues. A lot of money put into the repairs of them hydraulic pumps. These pumps probably didn't have 50 or 60 hours on them. The pump company would not warranty them, so we had to foot the bill to get them rebuilt. They've been working fairly well since. Emerald Park pump, upgraded the fuel regulator and repaired the water leak on the muffler. Rink pump station, refurbished the entire pump station, removed the engine from the discharge pipe, replaced the foundation, new building, new discharge pipe. This used to be a belt-driven pump, now it is a gear-driven pump. Bayou Buff Electric, we had to replace the electric motor. The Diamonds Electric, we had to replace the electric motor on it. Pelche pump station, we replaced an old Detroit diesel engine with a John Deere engine. Done that all in-house. Rodriguez number 7 engine was rebuilt by the in-house mechanics. The 24-inch portable at Sugar Ridge. Here's another one that we had to rebuild the hydraulic motor in-house. 2017 District Number 2 Little Owl pump station, changed out the pump. In 2017, the Rank pump station renovations before on the left, after on the right. We pulled the pump completely out. The engine was sitting on top of the discharge pipe, belt driven. We rebuilt the pump, put a gear drive on it, put all new pilings back under the pump station, and all of the main frame is galvanized with a metal roof over it. Still in District 2, Sugar Ridge upgraded the control panel on Sugar Ridge. Rom-Pom-Pom changed the engine and rebuilt the roof. Emard Pump Station repaired the roof. This is the picture of the Rom-Pom-Pom pump station. This is the one we changed the engine and rebuilt the roof. Emard Pump Station repaired the roof. 2018 completed projects in-house. Jack Bay Water Tower pump, replaced electric motor, Zella Pump Station, rebuilt the discharge pipe, waiting on the North Lafourche Levee District to complete the levee work to install it. LC Pump Station, complete installation of a new trash pump that replaces the tractor pump. Lejeune Pump Station, entire pump station was refurbished. Now this is interesting right here. The tractor you see on the left used to be the tractor that we used, that was there for 20-something years at Elsie. Now we have the new portable pump on your right. And believe it or not, that same tractor and pump, I had to put it back in service day before yesterday because we had a hydraulic pump to go down. So it's back in service, doing fine. But I hope I can get that pump built before long. I'm almost 65, so it might retire with me. The Lejeune Pump Station, before and after. Really, the welders, it's a welder and a fitter. We have to give tremendous credit to the people that just totally pulled this pump station apart, rebuilt the pump, discharge pipe, galvanized everything, put new pilings back in it, and built this pump station and put it back up. I don't know two guys that we could appreciate more than the work that they do. I know we have a lot of pump stations on our list to get done, and we steady working on them. And yes, from time to time we do use some of our personnel at our field offices. But thanks to Mr. Jimmy and this council for giving me the money in 2016 to start these pump projects. No, they have not been all completed, and I'm just starting tonight with 1 and 2, District 1 and 2. There's more to come. So,
Hey, James, you're going to have to speed up a little bit, okay?
all right, give me just 1 second. This is
I don't see your light, mister. Oh, okay.
Lejeune Pump Station refurbishing the entire pump station, tore it down, built it and pulled the pump. Eric Street Kramer Pump Station, a 12-inch diesel pump to be installed. Pump on order, should be delivered by the end of October. Sugar Ridge East, a complete 24-inch pump package to add to the 18-inch pump that is currently in place. Bids was received on 10/8/18 and will be presented to the council for approval. That's the end. Any questions?
Oh, I thought you had some other district. Could you send me that in email? Do you have an electronic version?
We can download it electronically. But like I say, I just did District 1 and 2 starting tonight. We have
Okay.
did work in other districts. We still have a lot more to do. But this
Okay.
this presentation was long enough.
I thought you were going through all of them, that's why I'd asked you to speed up, but,
No, that's just 1 and 2 tonight.
okay. Thank you, James.
That's fine.
Mr. Lorraine?
Yes, James, I looked at all those pumps. Can you give me a ballpark figure of money, what it costs to do all that? Just a rough ballpark, you don't have to have it hit it on the nose. I'm trying to make a point here.
You want to include engineering?
Okay, everything.
You take the one single pump station that we totally refabbed in-house, we probably got $90,000 in it, $80,000 in it, that's parts and labor rebuilding it. To do an engineered job on that and contract it out, you'd be lucky to get it done for 1.5.
Yes, the point I'm trying to make is that I gotta watch all these pump stations being fixed, and which, thank God they are. And we try to get some fuel for Lafourche. We don't spend a nickel in Lafourche on maintenance. This administration don't spend a nickel. And I gotta sit here and look at all this stuff, and I see nothing in the South. When it comes to fuel, they don't want to pay the bill. Maybe we should keep our tax and pay our fuel. You know how much maintenance we got over there? That they do, and we give them zero? We should give them, put something in that budget. Give them $500,000 a year. Give them something.
I know we pay for all their fuel.
What? Who pays the fuel for the rest of the parish?
We do.
Well, don't say you give me the fuel.
No,
You're paying the rest.
but I will say this. When we get through with the pumps that I have on the list right now, parish will be saved about 3.5 million in hard cash.
No, I understand that. The point I'm trying to make is I got to sit here and look at this and see what. I didn't see a pump in Lafourche, although we got 5 of them electric pumps.
It's one to be coming in your area that's done. Serenade's been totally rehabbed in your area.
Right. One.
One.
I saw about 100 of them right there.
Well, it's a lot more to come, sir.
It must be an election year.
But you went all the way back to 2017. I mean, James, how badly neglected was my district?
It was probably one of the worst in the parish.
I mean, it was bad off, so.
How much money did North Lafourche Levy District participate in all this stuff?
None that I've got to yet.
Wow.
But they did buy a pump for the Par pump station, and they planning on buying one for the Parlor Rose pump station.
I think they need to do a little more than that.
They did some levee work in my
And
district.
they working on,
Okay. Al, questions for the administration? Anyone? Mr. Jones?
Yeah. In the past, I've asked for how much money did we save by cutting the parish employees to 35 hours a week, and how much money we saved on the insurance. We got a tax coming up. We're asking the people for money, and I hadn't got an answer on that yet. So can the administration give me an answer?
Mr. Abedy?
Yeah, in fact, I just got the numbers today on the insurance. Comparing 2017 to 2018, the total savings across the entire insurance budget was just a little over $500,000.
And the employees, 35 hours a week.
I was not even aware of that question, so I don't have that information.
That 500,000 we saved on the insurance, are we planning on using that on solid waste?
You guys have the budget, but the $500,000 has to go to pay for something. And it seems like solid waste is one of the things we have to pay for. It's not dedicated one way or the other. Those are general funds.
General fund, right. General fund can be used for solid waste. Is that 500,000 going to be used for solid waste or will it be used for giving raises?
The budget's in the hands of the council. I don't know what you're gonna do with it.
Yeah, because I noticed some people got a $36,000 raise, some got 5, and some got 10,000.
Who got a $36,000 raise? One person got 36,000?
One person,
Who's got a
one
36?
person. So with this tax coming up, I want to know where this money going. I see some in the budget,
Who got a $36,000 raise?
parish president,
It's budgeted?
in the budget book.
Okay.
So before this solid waste tax could go to the people, I want to know if he going to be getting $36,000 raise. I would like to see that money go into the solid waste fund and not hit the poor people for more taxes.
Mr. Lafont?
Mr. Cantrell, before the last meeting, I walked in the door and you asked me, you needed to talk to me. And you told me that Mr. Lorraine, took the $50,000 that you were gonna use to fix the drainage behind the Cutoff Youth Center. Can you explain to me how Mr. Lorraine took the $50,000? Because he said he don't know where his $50,000 that would have went, because he don't see it nowhere. But I'm just trying to get an answer on how did he take the $50,000?
Mr. Jimmy?
Well, the $100,000 was supposed to go to the drainage system behind Cutoff School, which has been having a lot of problems. So Mr. Lorraine asked the people on the board to make a motion to give $50,000 to South Lafourche for repairs, maintenance, and I didn't object to it. I said, well, it's a good compromise. But then they tried to take the $50,000 that was supposed to go for drainage behind Cutoff Elementary School and keep the whole amount. And so we had agreed on it. Mr. Lorraine, they shook hands with me. We all said, all right, it's good. I was good with it. I wasn't gonna argue with anybody. It was just a compromise. And then what happened, some kind of way got turned around, they were gonna keep the whole $100,000. And so I went to the meeting and I explained to them that $100,000 was designated to do repairs behind Cutoff School because they've been having problems for, I don't know how many years, maybe 15 years, I guess, 15 years or longer. And so I don't know if we're gonna have enough to finish what we started. We did quite a bit. I think we spent about $170,000 already in that area to try to fix that drainage. This has been an ongoing problem in Cutoff School. Kids get off of the school bus, walk through 6 inches of water to go to class. During the winter months, it's pretty hard for these kids to get their feet wet. And that's what I wasn't trying to do anything but inform you, because evidently they said you didn't return your phone calls. They were trying to call you. So all I did was try to inform you what happened. And if you don't like that, well, I mean, I can't help you.
Who was trying to call me, Mr. Jimmy?
Some of the people at the school board, or I don't know, some people said they were trying to call you.
I talked to the principal several times, so I don't know. But beside the point, I'm just trying to figure out where the $50,000 went. But I think if Mr. James can build a pump for $90,000, I don't see how we can't fix a little drainage. But how much you said you spend back there? 170?
What is it, James?
Unbelievable.
Press your button. Yeah, use this way.
On labor and equipment, we've probably done spent about $170,000, and with a few culverts all behind the school and going around.
We put we placed that 145, that one culvert at 45 degrees, the one that made the two 90-degree angles. That's the only thing since culverts has been replaced back there since Mr. Cantrell's been in office.
The culvert?
That one culvert. That's the only
in-
culvert that's been replaced in that subdivision since Mr. Jimmy's been in office.
We've cleaned all the ditches and the.
So you cleaned all the ditches, but that's part of the parish's job on a monthly maintenance thing.
On a daily maintenance.
But I don't see how that one culvert cost $170,000.
It didn't.
So what else did y'all spend? Can you explain to me what else y'all did back there? I've been back there, I talked to you. Matter of fact, you came back there with me when you decided to do that.
Yes,
But
we've been back.
I don't see any money else being spent back there. Besides, I don't see any more culverts. $170,000, you could do a lot of digging, a lot of cleaning.
We have several times, and actually, we're probably going to go back and pull that culvert out. It's got a 2-foot rise in that canal. That's the reason why all the water's holding right behind the school at the dead end.
Yeah.
That's where all the water's holding up, because there's a 2-foot rise in the outfall canal. Go out to pull it and reset that pipe.
Yeah, and look, I've been back there plenty of times. Many times I pulled out trash out that ditch in the pouring down rain. Mr. Cantrell, have you ever went back there and pulled out any trash during the pouring down rain in that subdivision?
As a matter of fact, James and I both went back there when it was pouring down rain and trying to see how the water was running and how to try to get a grip of what's going on and what's happening. I've been to many, many nights that pour down rain to take care of drainage problems with Mr. Barnes many times, and through rain a lot of times.
Maybe we can get, I don't know. James, you know the biggest problem is something you can't solve and I can't solve. But to say that, I don't think Daniel took the 50,000. Daniel, I'd like you to explain what he's trying to say, that you took the 50,000, if you could.
Mr. Daniel?
You went to all the meetings, I don't.
No, what really happened was, I got the floor, miss?
Go ahead, Mr. Daniel.
What really happened was, Jimmy wanted to give, the drainage district to give 100,000 to South Lafourche levy district for fuel. I was there and I said, it's ridiculous. Why should Drainage District 1 give South Lafourche levy district some fuel when the parish pays the fuel? I said, why don't we go talk to Wendell, the manager, and let's see if we can, and ask him, you want it in fuel or you want it in maintenance? And I said, I bet you he'll take it all in maintenance, because I says, they got 3 tractors that never stop. North Lafourche levy don't even own a tractor. You got employees, you got fuel, you got breakdowns. They spent $2 million rebuilding pumps last year. $2 million. So he says, let's compromise. So let's compromise, 50 and 50. I didn't like it, but I said, that's better than nothing. So myself and Wendell and Jimmy and James and a couple other people met Monday, a Monday morning. We ironed it out. Come Thursday, he reversed his decision. So I lost. So you know what the levy district did? They put a motion to send back the 50,000 of fuel to the Drainage District 1. And if Jimmy was smart, all he got to do is go to the Drainage District and tell them to allocate $50,000 for the project and let them vote for it or vote on it. I mean, I didn't take no $50,000. And that's what happened, but that's all he's got to do. Sometimes you got to use your head. Go to the board and tell them what you want to do. So the levy district, they sent the check back. They ain't taking it. And I don't blame them. Why should we pay 3.5 mils parish-wide drainage, then we pay 1 mil something on Drainage District 1, and you're going to play around with us like that? We're not no kids. They showed him what business was. They sent him the money back. It's not his. It's not mine. It's not Jerry's. But Jerry's project, I can tell you this. That project, if it wouldn't have been for those 3 covers that are put across 32, 35 in the previous administration, you'd have the biggest problem there that you had. That's what basically solved that problem. They could go clean all the ditches they want, but that's what solved that problem. The bulk of it. The front is a different problem. And is it going to be fixed? Not if I took the 50,000. But I didn't take the $50,000. In fact, I might make the next drainage meeting and ask them to put X amount of dollars aside to do the project. So nobody took no $50,000. And that's what happened.
So, if I can, Ms. Ms. Posito. So Daniel, the whole $100,000 wasn't out the parish budget? This was all out of drainage district?
It was all out of drainage district, yes.
So it still wasn't out the parish budget, something out of drainage district?
Right.
That only could be spent from Lockport South anyway?
Raceland.
South. Okay, thank you.
Don't forget Corey.
I'll go ask him for the 50,000 next meeting.
Mr. Melvin?
Yes, I just wanted to, Mr. Jimmy, to tell you thank you for coming to my meeting last Thursday. I think it was a very good meeting, informative. I did request some slides and a projector, which I did not get from, I guess, the engineer, but I think people overall were satisfied, and my wish and prayer is that the project is going to be all that we're told it is, because the rain's going to determine that. Also, and I know DPW has been doing a very good job in my district. Thank y'all for that. And I'm just hoping that at some point soon, we can seriously look at replacing the screen at Thoroughbred, which they're looking at. I just want to let you know, I set that up in 2016 because Thoroughbred pump goes down. There's going to be some very unhappy campers that I sent it in since 2016. So I'm just FYI on you on that. But I thank you again for coming to the meeting. And I have spoken to Mr. James. I'm just making sure that this is going to move.
Mr. Otan?
Yeah, so just a couple of things. There was a lot of talk about North Lafourche levy district, which happens often. So right now, I know you mentioned $2 million, South Lafourche was doing something. So North Lafourche right now has $15.5 million worth of projects in progress for 65,000 of our residents. So they are a very important entity, and I would stand by them any day of the week. Drainage District, Jerry, I would recommend you sit down with a board member and find out what's all getting approved. The Drainage District Board approved $50,000 in maintenance and $50,000 in fuel to South Lafourche Levy District. Unfortunately, there was a mistake made and they signed over $100,000 for maintenance. They pulled the fuel out, the chairman pulled the fuel out accidentally without the direction of his board. So it turned into a little bit of a mess. So South Lafourche threw the check back because it was a little, so anyway, I would recommend you talk to a board member on that issue. It's a little bit of a muddied water, if you will. But with that said, I will ask James, as I have done probably 40 or so times since I became a councilman, can you update me on the flood wall for the North LaRose residents on Highway 308, please?
The flood wall and the...
Project. It's called the flood wall project.
Yes.
Obviously, it's pump stations and drainage now.
Well, I guess I'm gonna have to put Neil under the microscope again. I finally got him to the point that he said he was ready to put it out for bid, but I hadn't seen it come up. I hadn't seen him actually put it out. He says it's ready to go out. So I'll send him an email in the morning. I want to see some movement.
Appreciate it. High water times like we have right now in the Intercoastal, again, just make it that much. You know, obviously I have residents that were left outside the South Lafourche levee system for whatever reason. I think the Corps engineers didn't allow them. So, you know, I feel for those people. And North LaRose on both sides of the bayou are in the same dilemma. So, man, let's push and push. That money is sitting there. It was allocated, and we just got to get this engineer to spend it.
And look, it's just like the Parlor Road Station. I finally pushed the envelope far enough that I was going to start to liquidate the damages back. So I'm at this point with Neil to get something moving on that station. He keeps telling me it's ready to go out for bid, but I hadn't seen nothing advertised yet.
That stuff you can get deferred.
Mr. Abady?
Yeah, about a month ago, there was a request for some worksheets that were used as part of the budget process. So they were in active use at the time and constantly changing. They've been finalized with the submission of the budget, and I brought the worksheets for you all to review.
Can we have electronic copies emailed to us?
I'll have to find out if they have the electronic copies, but sure.
Okay. Yeah, I know they had to be created on a computer, so. All right, the only other thing I want to say is the Gumbo Festival is this Friday through Sunday, October 12th through 14th. So come on out, support our Check Bay Volunteer Fire Department. 44, N, discussions. 44, discussion concerning the ramp at the Leeville Fishing Pier. Mr. Lorraine.
Yes, I've been trying to get a ramp built since 2 years. I think they got 3 prices, and it was turned over to Terra Arabi, but he had lost it, unfortunately. And James, is that gonna be taken care of or what? I think the bid is what, $1,800?
Yes, we got a copy of the quotes again, got them back to Terry, and he's working on it, Daniel.
Yeah, I've been hearing that for 2 years, and
Well, I can just tell you, I've done.
you know,
I've done what I could do.
no, I know you did what you can do, DPW, but it gets lost. But anyway, it's something that really needs to be done. It's only $1,800, and God knows if ever it will get done or not. But I needed to say something. You skipped, maybe I didn't, council report?
Yeah, I did.
Okay,
when I talked about the Dumbo
I wanted to
Festival.
say something on that.
Go ahead.
Seems like when a councilman brings something up and asks us for something, you never get a response. What I mean by that is I've seen it happen time and time and time again, and it just goes away. I asked at the last meeting, and y'all were here, well, most of y'all, to see about the hours at the barns. And something came up today, I believe, through DPW. And Region D barn and Region A barn is short more than anybody else. And I could tell, because when I look at my report, at one time it used to be about a page. Now it's a paragraph of what was done in the week. So that tells me there's no employees, and we short. And I think DPW did something today that HR was supposed to do, but unfortunately they never did it, as usual. So he was supposed to give us the numbers.
Do y'all want a brief description of it, or y'all want it electronically sent to you?
You could just write up the report and send everybody a copy.
Got it, Marie? Okay.
Yeah. Okay, no one else had anything else? Lafont moves we adjourn, Perilou seconds it. All in favor? Any opposed? Adjourn 9:06 PM.